Welcome to PreGame. How are y'all doing? Try to get this to the top. How is everybody doing? Where is my video? There it is. All right. Little technical difficulty there. This is the PreGame with Kurt Jangle. I am Kurt Jangle, the host of the PreGame with Kurt Jangle. It's Friday. You know what that means. We're here, ready to go. Well, kind of ready to go. I lost my guest. I clicked the wrong button, and I've lost the professor, and just waiting. See if I can get him back in here. Anyway, again, this is the PreGame. We're doing what we always do. It's Friday. We're getting you ready for the weekend. We're talking about the week that was. And today, there was a lot, and I mean a lot, of professional wrestling news that we need to go over. We absolutely need Sickos Club in the chat. Return to us, Professor. Return, Professor. Get on. Somebody get a hold of the Professor on Threads or Blue Sky, or if there's a Discord that he might be on. Let's get him back in here. Get my beer going. Coming back again with a false idol, brand new one, Monster Inside. False idol, North Richmond Hills, local brewery. Delicious beers, good people. So I'm going to vamp for time for just another couple minutes while we try to get this sorted out. Whoop. I've got too many windows open. What is happening here? There we go. Okay, we're back to normal here. Check a couple other things here. All right, looks like we're gonna have a run-in pretty soon too from another guest. I've got a really good, fun show planned. I'm just, as usual, all the issues with it are my fault because of who I am as a person. Double check a couple things. Oh yeah, so show this off real quick. I've been meaning to wear this for a while. I've got my nice hat here. Sickos Club. Check that out. And that's some sickosclub.com. Check it out for all of your pro wrestling media needs. Good articles, good people, good merchandise, lots of good Hey. We got the professor back in. All right. Oh, I was drowning. Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button. And it just dropped everything, and I had to restart the entire stream.
There was a full screen of just like me sitting there. I'm like,
just by yourself. Yeah. Watch this. Yeah. This is here's introduce everybody. This is you want to be called Professor? You got another name you want the people to
you can call me Chad if you want to.
Chad. Okay. Cool.
Doesn't matter. You can call me Professor. I don't know.
Your name is Chad.
He calls me Professor Degree. It's a name I chose for anonymity, and now I'm showing my face and telling.
Now you're showing your face. It's actually funny. My brother's name is Chad. My name is Chase.
Really?
Yeah. So because my mom was like, I'm going to name this similarly, and she's gotten us confused. Gotten us confused ever since.
Is it older brother or younger?
Yeah, older brother.
Okay, because there's like any Chad I've ever met is either like within like a 10-year window of me. There's a brief period where that name was popular in late 70s, early 80s. And then no one was named Chad after 1986.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
It's funny because he's 15 years older than me. Like, he's quite a bit older than me.
Okay. I'm probably quite a bit older than you too. So
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm
48. I'm 48.
Oh, 41.
40. What's that?
41.
Oh, well, shit, I'm not that much older than you. We're peers.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be in high school together. Yeah. I would never talk to you.
Well, yeah, you'd have been a senior, and I'd have been like,
"Oh, hi, it's my first day."
6th grade.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So how you been? How's the week treating you so far?
The week has been good. No complaints. 4-day work week.
Nice. Oh yeah. That was. Oh, it was so nice. It was so nice having a pay-per-view on a Sunday with a Monday off.
Oh, dude, I know.
Because I wasn't going okay, do we really need the Paragon match? Because I need to get to bed soon.
But you do need the Paragon match.
Yeah, we did, because it was the cool-down match.
Right.
And it was really good.
It was really good, and it's too bad because everyone was in the bathroom because they had to go pee before the main event. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was just it was the death spot. It was the death spot, but it was like they still put on.
Yeah.
Because the people involved in that match, they're not gonna not show up and show out.
Exactly.
You can't.
Right? It's like, we know we're really super talented, but we're not gonna show it. You know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, there's no way they're not gonna. But yeah, if you look at that, it's like almost everybody in that match has main evented or almost main evented their own another pay-per-view.
In that,
and they got put together in that 6-man.
Mm-hmm. It's guys on the way up and established.
Yeah, that was crazy to watch. It's like, so good. Let me jump into the chat real quick. I got notifications popping in. Let's see.
You answer.
Glendale stayed up for that match. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Oh yeah, I answer questions like the chat goes, and I'll check in and answer questions. I didn't do a call for questions because there's just so much random news to get through.
Sure. Yeah.
And like apparently half the questions when I ask for questions just like, who do you like right now? Who you crushing on? I'm like, I did not expect like people to be like, what's up? In my questions.
Looking for a pen pal? What's going on? Who is your favorite right now?
Huh?
Who's your favorite right now?
Of wrestlers, people, or
anything? What's your favorite thing right now?
Favorite thing right now?
I guess wrestlers, because I mean it's a wrestling show, you know.
Yeah. Right now, like I'm fully behind Hangman as the main character, but Ospreay is he's my boy.
Yeah.
Like he's actually one of the people when he showed up that really got me to fully buy in to AEW. And it was funny because it was like in one of his promos, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
That dude, like I knew he was like talking about like, oh, I'm not really good at promos. I just do this or whatever.
But then
he just shows up and he's just like, he's on fire.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh yeah, let's go. Like that's my guy now.
And he's got that, like that nervousness of, I'm not good at promos. That's what makes him so fucking likable. He feels like a real dude. And
because he's not cutting a promo. He's just like talking from his heart.
I mean, talking about the misses, bruv.
Yeah, bro.
Misfit
mess in the chat. Hey, Jangle sup. Had to. So yeah, let's okay. So while we're on the topic of, we're talking about Will Ospreay. We got to talk about, Will Ospreay's hair,
dude. Yeah,
because that has been a.
Did you see the thing today about his wife was like
exactly? Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up. He was like, "We got to talk about your hair." So I would what do you think he's gonna get a haircut? What do you think he's gonna do with it? What do you want? What do you want to see Will Ospreay's hair look like?
I like the curly hair. I don't like the Jonathan Taylor Thomas thing. I mean,
no, you had the same reference to it that I did. Yeah, it's that Jonathan Taylor Thomas Home Improvement, like 90s.
I probably heard you say it or read you saying it somewhere. Yeah, I like the curly hair. Whatever kind of mop. Maybe he's growing it out. That's what I was kind of wondering. Like, are we just in a transitional period? You know what I mean? Like when Shawn Michaels had the mullet, but then he also kind of had the hair down to here, you know?
Oh, he had the little page boy haircut?
Right, yeah. Like, I don't know, but yeah, I like whatever hair he had kind of when he first showed up. It was a little messy.
Yeah, that little messy, kind of curly, but not the broccoli hair.
No.
Yeah,
but
not the broccoli hair
in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, I still had it parted. I can't deal with the broccoli hair. Every time I go to the gym, I see like 5 dudes with that haircut, and I'm just like, oh no.
I mean,
do something else.
I get it because I always like hated when I did have hair. You know, it was always like self-conscious and a hairstyle, whatever. So I just kind of had messy hair. I had that fucking haircut in 1994. Not really, but like, so I get it. Like, it's easy, I guess. You just get up and do that and whatever. But
yeah,
whatever. It's okay.
So you say when you had hair, are you naturally part of the bald community?
Oh yeah.
Or is that?
I was the night the bald chant started. I was there. I'm like, yes, these are my people. And it very quickly turned into an angry thing.
Oh God, you're just in the middle of an angry mob. How did that feel?
No,
just getting called out like,
you know what? I'm comfortable with my bald.
What, me?
Yes, I am part of the naturally bald folks, though, for a really long time.
Broccoli to the tune of Ospreay. Okay, now I want that. Now I want him to do that haircut.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Will Ospreay, if you're watching this for any particular reason, go get the broccoli haircut, get the VeggieTales broccoli haircut, so people can chant broccoli.
It's a Superman, right? Superman's got that hair in the new
movie. Sure, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
So
right.
What is that? I mean, we're on the same page? Is that what you're saying as far as his hair?
I don't.
You like? What do you?
Yeah, I like it. I like him having some hair. Mm-hmm. I don't want him to call Fletcher it or get like a high and tight or whatever. But
right, no.
Yeah, I mean, just don't straighten it.
Yeah, that's all.
Trim it up a little bit and let it be a little kind of floofy.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But whatever the missus likes is fine.
Yeah, and that's what it really boils down to. Because she's got to see him. Well, I say she's got to see him more than we do, but I don't know if that's.
I don't know. Is she?
I don't, because he travels. Yeah, how much he travels. I don't know. Hats off to him for doing that schedule. That's,
So I mean, how often does he go home?
Well, it's like he flies. He's talking about he flies in every week,
really?
And it's what, like an 8-hour flight or something.
Oof. Yeah, and the massive time change, right?
Yeah, massive time change, and he's in the U.S. for 2-3 days in a row.
Yeah, and that's it.
And flies back out. And that's
Fair
just
warning.
The
longer we talk about Will Ospreay, the more likely I am to do a really bad British accent.
Oh, yeah, same. Yeah, so I want to move on. Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. So another thing I want to get to, and I want to get to this early and get it out of the way, but it has to be talked about. Mm-hmm. We got to talk about John Laurinaitis
huge news,
flipping for evidence against Vince. So if people don't know, or just people need a basic recap, John Laurinaitis was named as part of the suit against Vince McMahon in the Janelle Grant suit for trafficking and stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
trafficking.
The stuff that you would assume Vince McMahon is going to get in trouble for doing. But he's turned over, and he's gonna deliver evidence against McMahon in the case.
And I did not mean to have such an excited face when you brought this news up, because obviously very serious news, but
yeah.
That pretty much says to me,
and Antoine in the chat, Antoine didn't know he flipped. This is, I didn't mean to break news here. I thought, I thought it was a little more widespread, well known. But
that's kind of that's not if you're someone who's on the fence, or you're trying to defend Vince, or you're trying to think, well, maybe it's she's this and this. I mean, to me, this pretty much just says no, dude.
Yeah. To me, this says, and I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know a whole lot about how these things work, but to me, it's something scared John Laurinaitis enough where he went, they've got something. They've got a a smoking gun, as they call it. That is, he's going down, and I'm not going to go down with him. Mm-hmm. I would rather, take a plea, give evidence, and, back away from this a little bit.
And I hope to God that I have this horrible fear of, Trump comes in and just lets it all go because they're buds and it's cool and God only knows what the fuck's going on.
But there's also
in the world right now, but on
he
a
can't.
State level, I don't think he can.
That's the thing I was going to say. It's at the state level he can't do anything. What you sipping on there?
Oh, it's a V8 Energy.
Oh, nice.
Yes, it's equivalent to slightly less than 1 cup of coffee. I did bring. I was gonna. You said Brett Michelle was going to be on later, so I was going to do a shot later. When she
nice.
I don't know. I'll do a shot with you if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't have a glass with me, but I got my.
Oh, there we go.
Trusty little. I'll just take a swig.
I have a bottle of Bacardi that's been sitting in the cupboard for years because I really don't drink anymore. But I am making an exception for you.
All right,
and it's not going to be a whole shot because.
Yeah, I'm just going to take a pull off this bottle.
Yeah, but also, you don't want to hear me doing a bad Will Ospreay impression.
Yeah,
but also you want to watch me.
I also need to do this because, okay, so before you do that, there was a local DJ in the area here that was famous for, and apparently I sounded a lot like him to some people here in the DFW area. But he's famous for you could hear him pull a cork on air occasionally. Right? So now that I've got my own little platform, I'm like, I got to pull the cork. I got to make sure you hear me pull the cork. So that's just fun. That's just a little thing for me and the 5 people that watch this from DFW. Cheers.
Salud.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't really drink anymore because I quit smoking. And if I drink, I have to have a cigarette and I don't want to have cigarettes. So
that was the toughest.
I shouldn't be drinking either because I tend to drink to excess. So I don't really do that very often.
That's fair. When I finally quit vaping, because I started vaping to quit smoking. When I finally quit vaping, I wouldn't let myself out of the house for a week, except to go to work.
Yeah,
because I was like, if I go out, if I'm in a car, if I leave the house, I'm going to drive by a gas station, I'm going to pick up a geek bar, and I'm going to puff that thing until it's dead.
Right? Yeah. I'm at a point now where I can go hang out with my friends and have a cigarette on the weekend, whatever, drink some beers, whatever, or not a weekend, but once a year we all get together back in Michigan or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then I come home and I don't smoke anymore. But was this one of your topics? Was I used to smoke Parliaments.
Oh, I did too. Yeah, those are great. I was not.
The flavor tastes best with the filter recessed.
Yeah, right. Now there's a lot about this show that's just going off on tangents, so that's fair. But yeah, just want to bring up, John Lord and I has flipped. That can only be a good thing for people that want justice for Janelle Grant.
Yeah,
as we all should.
Yeah, and I mean that's like I said, that's what reading that news. I mean, you shouldn't get excited about something like that, but it's just the finally.
It's like, wow, you're not going to be able to sneak out of this. There's something that's really gonna,
So many people snake out. You're in a position of power, you get out of it, and it's just wonderful. But as you said, justice is the term, and nice to know that hopefully somebody will be getting some justice, at least on some level.
Exactly. Sickos Club in the chat. If he didn't have extremely damning info, he wouldn't be flipping. Yeah, exactly. That's in a bow right there. He's got something that's going to seal this, hopefully, and it's gonna. And again, hopefully it's going to stick, and it's going to put a bad person away for a long time.
So. Yeah.
That's
that shit was really hard to read. I mean, that was horrible,
Yeah.
I wish I had not read that whole thing when it first came out.
Yeah, that was So we're going to move. We had to bring that up, and we're going to move on from that because I don't want to dwell on it too much. I just want to, just put that out there real quick. We've talked about Will Ospreay's hair. We've talked about ornitis. Let's get into let's do this. Let's talk a little bit about first of all, Abaddon is not being their contract is not going to be renewed. Yes. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not surprised.
Okay.
Just like I would not be surprised if Danhausen's contract doesn't get renewed.
Mm-hmm.
They've AW is just not in a place right now where those type of characters are part of the landscape. Yeah. And you can see, and you also like even Dark Order is where are they at?
Yeah.
So that style of that darker, spooky, adjacent, it's just not there. Like even, and especially now with Malachi, Alistair, Black gone, now the Hounds of Hell are just straight up like, oh, we're just bruisers.
Right.
We're just
cult thing anymore.
Yeah, we're just like golf people that like to fight.
I mean, obviously, Tony does not do magic. I mean, he even didn't he say something about like I don't know if he expressed regret, but he wasn't really cool on the whole Matt Hardy disappearing and all that stuff and the teleporting. I mean, he just doesn't. I mean, my presumption is he just doesn't. Because the first thing you think of is kind of the Undertaker. You know what I mean? And he wants.
Every spooky thing goes towards the Undertaker, right? And it's
And so so I understand if he'd want to stay away from that. But at the same time, that they don't. I mean, that was kind of the beauty of Malachi was like he didn't have magical powers. He wasn't truly like a wizard. He was just a dude. He was just fucking a black metal dude.
Well, yeah.
And kind of a cult leader, I suppose. But I don't know. I mean, I thought Abaddon was cool. I remember Abaddon from the early days. They were on Ring of Honor, right? A lot or no?
I didn't really keep up with the Ring of Honor. So
I don't know. But everybody says, there was like a vast amount of improvement and like, could have been brought back. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion, I guess, other than just thinking that Abaddon was cool. And I liked when they come out on the ramp and puke the blood up and everything, like
cool. And it's just Antoine in the chat. Not surprised. TNA fits them well. I don't know. Somebody in the chat jump in and tell me, does TNA still do the like the Dark Realm or whatever they called it? They have their own little spooky.
Oh, with Rosemary and
I thought they had.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect kind of fit, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they still do that. Sickos Club again. Abaddon would be great in TNA.
Yeah.
Because I knew they did that. I think it was like PCO was part of that.
It was cool.
So I don't know if they're still doing that, cool, and do that, and then that'll give them at least get some, WWE eyes on them. Maybe they get to NXT for a minute.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's not. I don't
if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
But apparently,
and I mean, is the door shut, or is it just that we're not renewing the contract?
Just not right now. Yeah, it's just not renewing the contract. Like, that's.
I think you're right about the Danhausen thing too. I mean,
but it's also odd one. Where do these type of characters go without an AEW? Do they just go back to the indies and like maybe change it up?
I think
ditch the spooky supernatural stuff and come back as something a little more mainstream adjacent.
I would not want to see this for my own personal reasons, but I think Danhausen could go to WWE and do like a Piper's Pit and be a fucking super huge megastar. I think it would ruin what Danhausen is because Danhausen's that guy, and I think when you fit that into the machine, it would take that away. But he could. I mean, that's an avenue for him.
I think if Danhausen went to WWE, they would make him go Dark Danhausen. They would hotshot him into a feud with Finn Balor just to get the Demon out one more time. The Demon would squash him and be disappeared.
Yo, you don't think they just use him as like a comedy guy, like hosting backstage segments or anything?
I don't trust the TKO version of WWE to do broad comedy.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I don't trust him to do anything.
I don't trust him at all. No.
It seems like, I guess I'm kind of judging it in the past.
I would though. Like they would sign everybody they can. Just be like, hey, we got this person from AEW.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because we already know they love to counter program.
Yes, they would. Yeah. we'll sign the worst fucking wrestler you have. I can swear on this show, right?
Sure. We've already.
Okay, I won't. I'll try.
I think we've already gone past like the 5. I think it's like 5 minutes on YouTube, and then they'll demonetize.
Oh shit. Okay, well,
we're like 20 minutes in, so we're fine. We're good. But we're jumping into the counter programming now.
Yeah, I think they'd sign everybody they could. They'd get anybody that they could just to say, we got him. They signed Jade Cargill, and they didn't do anything with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, not that she's like great or whatever, but like she's got the look, dude.
They signed her because she's got the look.
But she's got the WWE style, you know?
Yeah. They also they signed Ethan Page and Ricky Starks and just threw them in NXT. Like,
total just like revenge signings almost.
Yeah.
You know?
There's no, and then they're not. But they also those two guys are a little bit more WWE style characters.
Sure. Yeah,
but it's also they're WWE style characters.
Downplay them. I'm sorry if that sounds like I'm like.
No, I'll downplay them. I'll downplay myself. This is my show. They're WWE style characters, but because they've kind of modeled their characters after WWE archetypes,
and
it's what do you do with them? Like when they get to the main roster, what do you do with an undersized The Rock,
right?
And the guy whose gimmick is having an ego.
Right? Because Jay Lethal already did that whole thing where we do impressions of wrestlers. That's already been done. So Starks is going to lose it there.
Yeah. And I understand. And I've talked to people and they've told me Ricky Starks is the nicest guy in the world. Great. Good for him. Do not care for him as a wrestler. This whole pose. So I'm sorry. That's one of the worst wrestling poses I've ever seen. That is straight up Zoolander shit.
My kids watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's like an anime. So I catch little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And dude, I swear that fucking pose is like right out of JoJo's. You know what I mean? Like,
I respect it more if it is. If it is from JoJo's, I respect it more. I respect it more that way.
JoJo's is cool, so I mean maybe he's cool. I mean, I think Ricky Starks is kind of like, I don't know. Again, same thing. Like, I don't have a strong opinion. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's great either. He's just kind of a guy.
But who is he as a wrestler that is appealing? Like, what does he do?
Yeah, he's not. Well, that's what I mean. He's not special. You know, like there's nothing that sets him apart and makes him super unique, other than being a little rock, kind of.
Yeah. Sickos Club in the chat. Danhausen is probably not a great fit for national television. His shtick works best when seen infrequently. Also depends on the person he's interacting with. Yeah, that's.
I mean, yeah, it's a good point.
No argument there. I would actually I think Danhausen would be great if Evil Uno just had him as a permanent second commentator for Mystery Wrestling.
Sweet, there you go.
I would love that. Mystery Wrestling. If you've not watched Mystery Wrestling. It is so much fun.
They're doing something on YouTube tomorrow, right? They're doing something live or something.
I think they're doing their first YouTube show because they usually do it here on Twitch.
I'm a genius, stuff. It's just
Sickos
Blade, and he's got to get on every podcast. He's got to be on every show.
Oh yeah, it's Blade. I invited him to be on the show, and he's like, "No, I got stuff to do," but he'll be in the chat.
Yeah, he'll be in the chat. You want to know why? Because I'm going to beat him at Jeopardy, and he knows I'm going to beat him at Jeopardy, and he's. That's why.
That's a challenge.
Oh, I can't wait for your answer to pop up, Blade.
Yeah. Well, we wait for Blade to answer that. Yeah, let's talk more about the counter programming.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry.
Counter programming. Oh, he already answered. Yeah, it's Blade.
He knows my mom.
Yeah. Did they go to high school together? Because Blade is the oldest.
I used to pick on Blade in high school. He's always just had this thing against me. No. So I'm sorry, counter programming.
Oh yeah, counter programming.
He's trying to counter program us.
Yeah, he's counter programming the podcast.
The time honored tradition of counter programming.
Exactly. Yeah, but even okay, so
sorry, I got to fly on my screen there.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah, so the counter programming All In, and they've been trying to counter program it just. Because now they were already doing Saturday night's main event, and now they're throwing Evolution 2.
Right.
The women's
after
all
they
women's
the time
yeah.
All In, yeah.
So it's like
they're
counter programming
at this point.
Yeah, they're counter programming, but they're throwing like C shows at it, or what they would consider C shows. And if they don't work, if they don't pull enough audience away, they can just be like, well, that wasn't our big, it wasn't like our A show or anything. It was just like,
and
just another show.
Pointed out, like, Evolution that's the women's show, right?
Yeah.
So that's like twice as shitty, like.
Yeah. So if it fails, they're going to blame it on
our C show.
Well, women aren't a draw. Women aren't a draw. So like that's why our show didn't get the.
Yeah. So it's just like they look pathetic. It's but
here's the thing. The thing is, like, they're throwing B and C shows at it as counter programming because they're not brave enough to throw a bigger show against it.
Right. They don't.
If this were a version of WWE that were confident in their program, they would throw a SmackDown against it. They would throw a pay-per-view against it. They'd throw a Raw against it. Whatever they could, they would make up an event. They'd bring, one of their legacy shows back just to throw it against it. But they're not.
No.
Because they're not confident in what they're doing. They look, and I'm okay. One of the things I keep hammering about this show is I talk about the things I like and I ignore the things I don't. I think everybody should do that. I think it's going to be a much better internet if we do that. This episode, however, I'm going to allow a couple of episodes. First episode was all about Eric Bischoff being a dork. This episode is all about WWE looking weak.
Sure. Well, listen, there's nothing
they're gotten to. And also, Kurt Jangle is a genius in the chat. Sickos Club. Kurt Jangle is a genius. Brilliantly said. Genius and the only adult on the internet.com. Right. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't think that WWE is, WWE versus AEW is like, comparing pizza and oranges. It's just, I don't think they're going to steal any AEW fans away. I think the whole point is just we don't want our fans to go over there, right? Like they're not going to get any AEW fans. Don't give a shit. Goldberg's last match, nobody cares. You know,
like I'm not changing the channel for that.
Right. It's just a matter of like, we're just going to trap you. We're going to give you more, and you can't. It's the fucking. Every Marvel comic is a crossover now, and you have to buy every comic, so you can't afford to buy DC comics, kind of a thing. They're just weird. It's weird, and it's I don't know.
It's weird.
It's a good wrestling show, maybe.
Gross and just icky. Like, why do that?
Yeah,
why do that?
In this day and age, everyone is so connected. Everybody's online. Everybody knows all the news. What do you think you're gonna trick somebody? Are you fooling somebody with this? It just comes off as pathetic.
Yeah, and also like their promo code is like all WWE.
Right.
Like, come on. That's what I was like, oh, you're gotten to.
Right?
Like they are under your skin.
Mm-hmm. Because you can't counter program AEW. You don't have Will Ospreay. You don't have Swerve Strickland. You let him go. The thing with AEW that they can't do, and this is something that I'm sorry if I'm getting kind of off topic, but like Double or Nothing really hammered it home where it's like AEW feels like I've been to I think 4 shows. It feels like you're at a party. It feels like you're hanging out. It's your buddies. You know what I mean? Like, you're around your people. You can't do that in a boardroom. You can't do that with a focus group. It has to be natural. And WWE doesn't have that. AEW, it is natural because just the type of fan base it is, the type of wrestling they promote.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But it's like compared to two wrestlers that have kind of, I feel like similar energies right now.
Okay.
Especially like crowd interaction energies. So in WWE, you've got Jey Uso.
Okay.
And then you've got, and I'm not comparing the wrestling abilities quite yet. In AEW, you've got Will Ospreay. We're talking a lot about crowd connection, the energy when they come out and everybody's like really into their entrance. because you got, the yeet thing with Jey Uso, and he comes out through the crowd and everybody's doing the yeet. You got Will Ospreay and everybody says, Ospreay, Ospreay, chanting along with a song. And it just, and I've said it multiple times in multiple places on social media, like that is a cheat code for hype to start a show. You bring Will Ospreay out first to start your show. That Ospreay chant is going to get the crowd ready for anything.
Yes.
And,
it's cheat code.
And that's the thing. Yeah. And the yeet thing is a cheat code too, to get the crowd hyped back up in the middle of a show. Because people love doing that. Cool. Like they've both got genuine fan reaction, fan connection in their entrances. Entrance is a big part of wrestling. The pageantry, all that. We all understand how that goes. Get them in the ring. You see where it starts to fall. You see where that connection. You see where that starts to fall down. You put Will Ospreay in the ring with a mop.
Right.
4.5-star match.
Yeah.
You put Jey Uso in a ring with the best wrestler on the card. You put him in. You put him in there with Chad Gable, and it's a gentleman's 3.
It's a gentleman's 3. What do you mean? What's that?
3-star match.
Oh, okay.
Just gentleman's like, good match. Handshake, very good. Thank you very much. Well done. Yeah, it's just like, okay, it's a good match, but it's not.
Sure.
It doesn't change the temperature of the audience.
Right.
It doesn't. It doesn't make you think differently about
life
or the art form that you're watching. I'm sorry. It just doesn't.
It's a match.
I like Jey Uso. I like Jey Uso as a character, but I understand as a wrestler his limitations. And I'm gonna get a little tribal on this episode because WWE is making me be mad at them.
Here's the thing, and I don't know if I'm correcting you or whatever, but like this is okay.
Go for it.
We were. This
is why I want people on the show with me. I want pushback. I want to.
Oh no! It's not like that. Tribalism, right? Okay, is when you are blinded, right? I am a AEW fan, and nothing they do is wrong, or WWE. I don't think it's tribalism to say, look, I don't like the product they put on. I don't like the way they present wrestling. I don't like 45-minute entrances. I don't like promos that go over 10 minutes, unless, with exception, I don't like their stuff. And no disrespect. If you like it, that's cool. I don't. So I don't think it's tribalist to just say, well, I don't like them. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm not a fucking Black Sabbath tribalist if I say I don't like Bon Jovi. I just don't like them. And then on top of that, and that's just taste, and you can disagree with me, and that's fine. And there's no right or wrong. And then there's all the other shit. There's all the other the counter programming and the just shittiness of that company and the misogyny and the history of shit.
Oh, there's plenty to dislike.
Yeah, so. I don't think that falls under the umbrella of tribalism. That's just a matter of I don't like, because I don't. Yeah. I like all wrestling, man. I fucking love professional wrestling. There's just one thing I don't like, and it's WWE.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I make sure I say stuff like that just that way. Like if somebody clips me, if somebody takes me out of context, I can clip the rest of the episode. And be like, no, I actually said this other thing. You were just being a.
Oh no, yeah, you're not wrong, of course.
Yeah. I'm always looking for ways to. Cover myself.
Like, you got to put the caveat in there, like, like I'm sitting here saying, I don't mean to disrespect them, but I'm gonna shit all over them.
Yeah,
and that's my little caveat, so I don't get in trouble.
They always got to have that. So let's talk about while we're talking about WWE, what do you think about Mariah May moving to the Fed? If it is to be believed, all the stuff that we're hearing, it is not solidified yet. These rumors have been going on for months now. And I've seen a bunch of just those weird, dumb, fake graphics that everybody buys into with no scrutiny. That's like, Mariah May is going to WWE next week.
Right. Here's Mariah May talking to another WWE star at a wedding reception. She must be leaving. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
but it looks like she's going. That looks pretty.
It does. It does. Okay. There's, I've been researching every time I see one of those like weird graphics that's like, rage bait graphics. I'm like, okay, I'm going to check Fightful again. I'm going to, search and see if there's any actual news. And yeah, it does look like there's smoke now,
She's off their roster page, you know that.
Yeah, she's off the roster page. And also it's just like, who are the people that just sit there and like check the roster page every day? That's such a weird hobby. If you're one of those people, it's one of my like look down the camera list. If you're one of the people that just like refreshes the roster page a couple times a day, why? Why is that your hobby? Why is that your hobby? There's so many things. Yeah. Go to the hobbies. There's stores called hobby stores. Mm-hmm. The entire lobby is full of hobbies. Buy a model kit.
Right.
Do anything else. Come on.
Who's on the roster? Who's on the
roster?
But I mean, yeah, she sounds like it's kind of a legit thing, and she, I guess, it's been her dream for some time or something.
Fair.
So whatever, I get that, and I try to have the perspective. I'm just going to beat a dead horse here. I try to have the perspective of, well, a job's a job, and people go to different places and they work at different places, and I don't think that my employer is necessarily a great, wonderful fucking paragon of virtue and justice, but it's kind of like, if you watch WWE and there's the cookie cutter blonde, and we just churn them out on a little, whatever conveyor belt. I just feel like she's going to get lost in the shuffle. I don't feel like, I don't see where that.
Chat, jump in if somebody wants to do the math on how many cookie cutter blondes are on the roster for WWE right now. And why do you need Mariah May if you've got Tiffany Stratton?
Because she was in AEW and she was a champ, and they can say we got her.
There it is.
Let's loop it
there
back
it is.
To the beginning.
Simple enough. That's why you do it.
And she's
that's
talented.
Why you do it.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not.
And she is a better wrestler than Tiffany Stratton.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But also, why do you send her to NXT then? Like, why are they sending these? Like,
because you send them to NXT because they're not good enough to be in the big leagues. They got to train. They got to learn how to be in the big leagues, man.
I guarantee you, Mariah May knows how to find the hard cam.
I think you're right.
I think she's mastered that.
No,
everything else you can pick up on the job.
Perception of it. It's the idea that she couldn't just jump right into the big leagues.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like you're telling people that AEW is the minor leagues because you have to put them through NXT to get them ready for your main roster.
Right.
Even though they've been on network television
and a world champion
champion.
The story
that has biggest story in wrestling.
Yeah.
And I would say if you don't think Toni Storm has been a bigger story than Cody Rhodes, you're lying to yourself.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Finish the story. Finish. No. Nothing about. I was there for the whole finish the story thing. But when Toni Storm, when rocker Toni Storm got beat down in the middle of the ring, and Mariah May walked away, and timeless Toni Storm stood up and said, "Do you think I've forgotten?" I was just like,
"So
this is perfect. This is perfect.
This is what's
cinema. That is cinema."
Yes, and back to the idea of AEW feeling like a community and feeling like friends. When she debuted that gimmick, I called a buddy of mine, Joe. He's a big wrestling fan and he's a big film buff. And I was like, dude, Toni Storm is doing like a 1930s gimmick, 1940s gimmick. You and I are the only people who are going to like this. Because I just like, no, who's this going to appeal to?
Yeah.
Well, turns out
everybody.
Yes. And again,
because it's
we've all got that
timeless.
same sense of humor. We've all got this. It is time. It's awesome.
Because here's the thing,
fucking awesome. Sorry.
There's a major cross section, the Venn diagram of wrestling fans and theater kids.
Mm-hmm.
AW has almost made that one circle. And Timeless Tony Storm is what brought that all together.
Before we started recording, I was telling you about my buddy who is not a wrestling fan, but kind of, comes in and out and observes it with me. But he is he grew up and his dad did local theater. So he is a theater guy. And that is exactly how he views, because he is not a fan. He's not coming in looking at it like, well, is it a sport or is it not a sport? He's like, it's theater. It's just theater. That's all it is. It's athletic theater. You're absolutely right. That Venn diagram is, it's a big crossover.
Big. And like the Timeless Tony Storm just made it a circle. Just made it one whole.
And it's bringing in, you're never going to believe this thing I saw in wrestling the other day. I've never seen anything like it. Like that's a good way to hook non-fans too. It's just cool. She's awesome. And that's
great.
It would, obviously it goes without saying it wouldn't work with anybody else. She's
that is a one of a kind character with the right person at the right time. Like that is a lightning strike moment. You could, it's Tony Storm being on that roster, ready for a gimmick change, ready to really dive into a character, and have an RJ City there on creative with all those references in his back pocket. Because he's enmeshed in that style of theater and Hollywood and all that stuff. You put all these combustible elements at the right time, and it's just
well, and it's a kind of a testament, like they always say, like, you should if you're a writer, you should write what you like. Don't write for other people, write for yourself.
Write what you like, write what you know.
And that's the thing where this is clearly something that it feels like it was a private joke amongst friends, and then it's like, oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna make this my gimmick now, and then it's
we'll just do it. Let's see where it goes.
And again, like I said, I didn't think it appealed to anybody. It's clearly appealing to everybody. You write for yourself. You put yourself out there, and that's that's art.
It is definitely art. And we're trying to talk about Mariah May, but remind me. But it's also okay. So I want to bring it back to like Mariah May was integral to that story. Huge part of how that story was told, how it resolved, everything about it. I don't want to see her leave AEW, but it's also, what else does she do? Where do you go from that?
Because it's almost like a typecast thing, but again, I guess that's the creative process though. How does your character recover from that or come back from that? I don't know. Because I certainly wouldn't say that anybody else could have been put in there. Like, I don't think that I've heard people say, oh, she's interchangeable, and like, I don't think that's true.
No,
I don't think that's true at all.
No, you can't put like Ruby Soho in that position. No, that's not going to work.
Absolutely
you can't put Thunder Rosa in that position.
So
that's not going to work.
It's her.
Mariah May was the only person that could be that role.
And when she would turn, and when she got into just being so sadistic and so cruel, she's great at it. She's awesome. But
there's another one of those. It's a lightning strike moment. You've got the right partner for that dance. But what does she do after that? And maybe it's maybe it is the best thing for her to just go away for a while, and then they can she does whatever time in WWE, and if it works out, it works out. If not, maybe they bring her back and they have something fresh for her.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't. It's that thing where it's like, I love it in theory. I love like a territory style, and you're here for a little while, and then you leave, and then you come back, or you go somewhere else. I just wish there was somewhere else for her to go that wasn't WWE.
Well, it used to be
there was another big promotion.
It used to be you could go to TNA, and now that's still that's like WWE. And they've made that less than NXT.
Yeah. Which it kind of wasn't it? I don't know.
I mean, TNA.
No, I don't think it was actually.
TNA has had moments where it was like that's the other wrestling show.
Yeah, when D'Amore was running it and everything, I really liked that
stuff. The TNA has had high spots.
Oh yeah, I was a huge fan back in the day, and then Hogan and Bischoff kind of like, I don't know if that's the point where it went bad or what, but it
didn't help.
Yeah. But then I want to say it's D'Amore. I don't know, and if somebody else deserves credit, please say something. But like, he certainly brought it back up.
Yeah,
to, like,
as I understand it, Scott D'Amore was heading the charge, and he was the one that was bringing TNA back up, well, Impact
before
back up
canned him. Yeah.
to the point where there's like, okay, we're gonna take back the TNA branding, and we're gonna like really make a push to be a respected third, now third brand, third wrestling promotion, and then he just got kicked to the curb.
But was bringing back the TNA brand?
That was him.
That wasn't part of the WWE thing, you don't?
No, that was pre the WWE.
Yeah, no, I know it was, but I didn't know if it was like were the wheels already in motion? I guess is my question.
Yeah, because he was as far as I remember the timeline.
I remember.
Yeah, he was instrumental in like, okay, we're going back to TNA. We're gonna take our identity back, and we're gonna like really like we're gonna get a better TV deal. We're gonna like really we got some momentum now coming off of the AEW partnership that they had going, and they were really,
What do you think about that? Them going back to the old name? Since we're on the,
I don't. It's fine. It's fine.
I think it's fucking dumb. I thought it was dumb when they called. I'm sorry, total.
I mean, when they called it when
company's called TNA.
They called it TNA. We know what that meant
exactly
because they started like what 2002.
Yeah, and they had girls in cages and shit.
Yeah,
and like,
TNA. Okay, we get it.
Yeah,
but it's also like
I get
WWF had a tag team called TNA.
Yeah,
so it was already like you're already kind of poisoning the well on that name.
Yeah, and I understand it was. I mean, it was just one of those things where it's like, yeah, I get it's in the air, but let's get away from that. Like, let's get away from that zeitgeist,
Yeah,
I think that's the right word. But so I just think it was a stupid name to begin with. When they changed it to Impact, I was overjoyed. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I don't want to tell people I watch TNA wrestling.
Yeah, because that requires a longer conversation than you want to have. Because if you're having a conversation with nobody that doesn't care about wrestling, it's gonna be a weird conversation already. And then if you have to explain what TNA stands for, that's making that conversation a little longer than you want it to be.
So my opinion, whatever. I get that there's name recognition, but
you know, I was fine with Impact. Impact is good, whatever. I'm just glad it wasn't Global Force Wrestling or whatever.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett wanted.
I don't know what that was.
I like Jeff Jarrett as a commentator for the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
Keep him there. That's it. That's all I want Jeff Jarrett for. He's good at that.
Yeah.
Don't need him. Don't need him running shows or trying to go for titles or.
No, I will say I was a Jeff Jarrett hater back in the day, and I mean like a hater, not like I love to hate. I mean like get the fuck off of my television.
Yeah, go away.
Yes, but when he signed with AEW and he started doing so, like I found him oddly endearing. I really liked him. It was kind of cool. And then that title thing was not for me personally, but yeah, he doesn't need to be on that much.
Yeah,
he's just a guy you bring up every once in a while, and that's cool.
He's got a good wrestling mind.
When
he's not trying to book himself, he's got a good wrestling mind. He's a good wrestler. And he's really good on the pre-shows. Throw him on commentary occasionally. Fine with that. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Jarrett, the on-screen personality, is much preferable to Jeff Jarrett, the professional wrestler.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Or booker.
He's not some great, amazing legend that I need to see on my screen every week. But
I will give him all the credit in the world, though, for always being employed. Somehow that dude has managed to always had a job in a major wrestling promotion.
Well, his family's been in, because was it his mom or his grandma that used to promote shows?
Oh, the Jarretts were like deeply embedded in the territory.
Jarrett was, so I get that, and I mean I give him his due. It's just I don't know. He's got a mind for it, and that's it.
It's not for me. Not for me.
I will say, as he has aged, his hair, I don't know. It's beautiful, man.
It is so good. It is so good.
Sanders was a superhero,
I'm
Southern blonde.
Yeah, it's And it looks very natural. Like he just kind of wakes up and brushes it back, and it puffs into
goes,
that. Yeah,
that's it.
I'll give him all the credit in the world for that hair. Like dig that. So before we get to the real meat of anything else, we got to get to this real quick.
Yes.
Along came a spider.
Cool.
Tekla debut. Okay. One negative out of the way first. They did not let that breathe long enough on the episode.
Agreed. She
came out. She wrecked Jamie Hayter. And if you're going to debut with wrecking somebody, Jamie Hayter is going to, that's a point proven. And then she did her spider crawl, and that was cool. She looked straight down the camera, and I was very intimidated, but very intrigued. But yeah, they didn't let it breathe long enough. I wanted just a little more, like cut to commercial, or just let that hang.
Yeah.
Let that hang a little bit. Don't just immediately go.
Yeah,
well, here's a video about Mystico.
Yeah, and it like cuts it right off. I don't know if I've ever seen her wrestle. I only know her by reputation, and her reputation. She comes with a very strong reputation. So
I've seen clips that people people have sent to me, like excited about her because everybody saw a little spider hanging down in the corner of the screen, and they're like, Tekla, and I was like, who? What are you talking about? Yeah. And then they're like, oh, watch this. I was like, oh,
yeah.
I was just her in New Japan, just wrecking somebody and like talking shit down the camera.
Okay, I have not seen that. That's cool.
Yeah,
so this is all brand new for
me. Beating the crap out of another Joshi, and then like the camera person comes up and she's like, "Oh, what's this? I'm gonna like It's like talking about how she's gonna just hurt somebody.
Cool. I like.
So it's apparently like part of her gimmick is just like
being a fucking badass.
Yeah,
freaking badass. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're almost an hour into it. Like I've given up on the PG-13. Yeah.
Once it's past like 8 o'clock, it's fine.
Yeah, but I just want to bring that up because that's just another big news thing. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm same with you. I know her only by reputation. I'm excited to see what she can do.
Yeah,
and like I don't need some people. Fine if you need this. I don't need weeks worth of vignettes telling me about a character.
Yeah,
I just need I need that. I need to show
for
up.
Certain characters, that's cool, but yeah, I just show up.
Wreck somebody that's built to be tough looking, and I get it.
Yeah. It's not like, and I always compare, like when people like wrestling complaints, I always compare it to television. It's like, it's not like, you watched Breaking Bad and for 3 weeks they said there's a new character that's going to debut and it's Giancarlo Esposito. You know what I mean? Like they didn't.
Yeah, right.
They didn't
you don't need that.
He just showed up. Spoilers.
Just tell it on. Yeah, spoiler. She's good. Yeah, tell it. Tell me on the screen. Tell me through the character and the dialogue and the whatever, like the interactions. Like
let the announcers sell her and let the
Yeah.
So I'm definitely intrigued, and I love that their women's division is just like, it's getting so good. It's already good, but I mean, it's just increasingly leveling up.
And it's like, okay, cool. Like if we lose Mariah May, that is what it is. But look what's coming in to replace that. The caliber of just.
Cool.
I'm not, I can't be mad at. I can't be too mad at any of this going on.
And people come and go in wrestling. It's what it is, But this one that's coming looks cool.
So, yeah, it's a good swap. It's
I will tell you that. Yeah, I'm more excited about her coming in than I would be about whatever Mariah May is going to do. And just because it's really intriguing to me.
Yeah.
So, what are you drinking tonight, here, sir?
Oh, let me crack.
I missed the intro because something.
Oh yeah. Because that was my fault. That was me. So this is
Blade sabotaging me again.
So False Idol is a local brewery. They're about a mile away from my place.
Nice.
This is the Monster Inside. It is a New England hazy double IPA. Very tasty, very hazy, very juicy. Exactly my type of. They're great at these New England style IPAs. It's my favorite type.
Cool.
So I go to, little behind the scenes kind of thing is I go to, when I'm getting ready for the show. Ironically, Thekla's nickname is Idol Killer from Sicko's Club in the chat. Okay, well, there you go. So I go to False Idol after work and I grab a couple beers.
That's quick.
To get ready for the show. I'll bring my laptop down there and just sit. They get good Wi-Fi, and I'll get all these little cards that pop up and all the different stuff. I might make all my notes and everything while I'm sitting there. That's why I always end up with False Idol beers. Yeah,
you should work out a deal with them. Maybe
I should. I'm going to keep doing this, and eventually, when there's like enough, word of mouth, and be like, hey, like I've been sponsored. I've been talking about y'all on my show, like constantly. Yeah, give me.
If you could just get a free 6-pack every week,
Yeah, right. That's
enough.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Where were we at? We
were talking about Tekla.
We were talking about Tekla.
Complaining about the WWE.
Yeah, but here's what we should do, though.
Yes,
we should praise AW for Double or Nothing. And we're on the. I'm gonna start saying this now because we've getting hammered over the head with it's a road to WrestleMania. We're on the road to Y'all In. Like that Double or Nothing was setting us up. That's the kickoff to the road to All In. Y'all In, as we're calling it for this one, because it is in Texas. It is in my hometown of Arlington. That's where I went to high school, so that's my home. I'm calling that my hometown at least.
You're lucky because AEW never does shows in Chicago, so I never get to see them.
I don't know why they picked Arlington. They've had such a weird love in with Arlington because they did the thing at the esports arena.
Which was that? What one was that? Like the Dynamite?
They did a couple episodes. They did a couple Dynamites and Collisions and some ROH. They did an ROH pay-per-view at the esports arena.
Cool.
In Arlington. Okay. And I think that's what led to All In being in Arlington.
Things went well.
Yeah, things went well, and they had a good
they got
paid by the city of Arlington.
Well,
I mean, obviously they did. I mean, I'm not denying that at all. Because here's the thing: as Arlington is a suburb of Dallas and Fort Worth at the same time.
Okay.
But it is also a major city. Arlington has Six Flags over Texas, the first Six Flags theme park. It has the Rangers Stadium, where All In is going to be at, and has Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
Okay.
Arlington calls itself Fun City.
Okay.
The entire place is a giant tourist trap.
So I guess that's a good place to do.
Yeah. It is also the biggest city in the United States without public transit.
Really?
No buses.
They don't have any public transit. How?
Just the original city planners and mayors and like the families that really founded Arlington. Were the Vandergriffs.
Okay.
And if you drive around Arlington for more,
it doesn't even sound like a real. That's going to be Mariah's name when she goes.
Yeah, Mariah Vandergriff. Yeah, but the Vandergriffs own car dealerships.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well,
so they made sure that the city was built.
Works.
They made sure the whole city was built around cars, around traveling by cars.
Splendid.
But again, I grew up there. I went to high school there. Still love the place. Okay. I like it more now than I did then, obviously. But obviously, the city of Arlington is paying AEW to do stuff there. But I do think the what do you call it when you have because AEW is doing a thing in the 2300 arena. They're doing multiple shows.
They're doing the residency.
They did that at the esports arena.
That's right. Okay.
The esports arena used to be the Arlington Convention Center.
Okay.
And they just turned it into just like half of it is now an esports arena.
Okay.
It's insane that the place I grew up in has an esports arena.
Right.
When I got bullied for liking video games
Right.
in the high school there, like, it's so weird to me, but it's so cool. Like, it's, things have changed like that around there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's honestly probably like I think a lot of the conversations that led to All In being at the Ranger Stadium happened during that residency, and making that connection with the city of Arlington.
Mm-hmm.
But so we're on the road to that, and again, that kicked off at Double or Nothing. How do you feel about the winners of the Owen going into the male and female winners of the Owen going into All In?
I mean, super positive about both.
Yeah.
I didn't think Mercedes was going to win. I thought it would be Jamie Hayter.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be one of those things where Jamie gives her first defeat, but she doesn't have to lose any belts, and then that can loop around later. But I'm not complaining because I'm a huge fan of Mercedes. I thought that match was fucking awesome. I presume she's going to beat Toni Storm and have all the belts. But I also kind of don't know. I mean, it's hard. I'm not good at predicting stuff. I can come up with a million armchair booking things, but I'm always wrong. And obviously Hangman is the right choice. I mean, that kind of goes.
You don't go and do Y'all In without Hangman.
Right.
Yeah.
And
even though he's not from Texas, but he's still, cowboy shit.
He's the cowboy. Yeah. And I mean, I think a million people online have already dissected it and told us why he's the perfect choice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to talk about the full circle thing with, how he lost the title the last time, just the 2-year track he's been on, it's a great story.
It is.
And he's the man. And we were talking about it earlier. I wrote 1,000 words about why it should be Will Ospreay, and I still want it to be Hangman. I was still happy he won. It's rare that. Usually, I'm always screaming when I'm watching wrestling, but when he won, when that hand went down for the 3, my son is off the. He's usually.
And not to interrupt, but those 1,000 words you wrote were on what?
Sickosclub.com.
Look up at the ticker above, sickosclub.com.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Home for a lot of intelligent wrestling discourse.
Really, like actual discourse. Really,
and yes,
good stuff.
And I'll make a point that we made before we went on the air. We were talking a bit. I love the fact that this company and this storyline is of such caliber that I can write 1,000 words about the guy that I don't actually want to win, why he's the right choice. Because the story is so compelling on either side, and whichever side of that argument you're on, you're not wrong. In the end, I am glad.
There's no bad choice. There's no bad choice.
And that's great.
And to also bring up, because we before the show started, we get into the little lobby and we're chatting, hanging out, and talking to stuff. Game planning for the show, game planning for the pregame,
pre-gaming the pregame.
Yeah, pre-gaming the pregame. And we're talking about that. And I was talking about that promo battle they had, that Hangman and Ospreay had in ring promo. I won't say battle, but promo exchange conversation they had. It almost so they had that, and then there's also the news that came out that they didn't know who was going to win that match. They were not told who the winner of the match was going to be until very soon before the match actually happened. So me thinking about the way those promos were structured, the way they were talking to each other, the things they said, the passion, the energy that they had going into that. I think at that point when they went into the ring, they didn't know. They still were not. Tony Khan had not told either of them who was going to win. So they are making their case, not just to the audience, not just selling themselves, not just selling the match, but selling them to Tony.
Mm-hmm. I think you might be onto something with that.
Like, and yeah, there's also the thing that came out that like they were pushing for each other, but I think at some point they were also like, if I want to win this match and I want to get the, I want to get the championship opportunity, like I'm getting sent out here to the ring, like I got to sell myself right now.
Right. This is your tryout or whatever
this
word would be, but yeah, this is your resume basically.
Yeah, you put your resume out there, like this is you're doing a live interview to like sell yourself to everybody. For
you brought that up, and it I don't know if it's a fact, but it rings true. It makes sense.
It feels emotionally true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to believe it because it's fine. I want to believe it.
I like the idea that like,
Did you want to put that thing at the bottom that says Kurt Jangle is a genius? You should put that back up there.
Oh, let me see if I can find that. Yeah, I'm gonna get back into the chat bubbles and see if I can. There it is.
Because I think you could be onto something with that. That's really, like you said, it's emotional no matter what.
Yeah. It was like how, because there was tangible feeling and emotion behind every word they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
There's
I might have cried.
A lot of things that they were. It wasn't what they said. I'm going to back up. It wasn't what they said. It was the way they were saying things. Mm-hmm. It was there's a little extra like authenticity behind, when Will Ospreay said, "This is not about your redemption. This is about my ascension."
Mm-hmm.
The way he just put that extra like nail in the end of those words, like it's the weird thing you can fake that, but can Will Ospreay fake that?
Crosses over and sounds like a real debate or argument.
Yeah. And that's why I got on Threads immediately. Like I was on Threads immediately during that. I was like, give Will Ospreay a BAFTA because he's English. Right? You can't get you can't get you can get a BAFTA though. Right. Like that's their Oscar or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I was like, that's.
Yeah, it was good shit.
Yeah, it was so good.
It was, yeah. I got a buddy that we've been friends for years, and we're always talk wrestling, and we're both sending each other the little crying emoji because it's just like, oh my god, really, really well spoken.
It is really in that moment. It's like I'm fine either way. Whoever wins this match, I'm.
But then
you've made your case, and I'm cool. Yeah.
And then after, when Wednesday rolls around and Hangman's in there and Swerve comes in and Ospreay comes in, and that moment where he's like, I don't remember how he said it to Swerve about like, you thought it was you, I thought it was me, but it's him.
It's him.
And
that was
just like, yeah.
Yeah. That
I felt that one.
How could you not feel that? That's
good.
That's
him.
It's him.
Because I try to view wrestling through, and like I always bring up my son because we watch wrestling. He's 14 years old, and he's been watching AEW since day one. Got to stay up late because of the Cody Rhodes War. Wrestling through.
You're gonna have to,
and watch.
I don't know if this. Real quick.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Real quick, on my end, you cut out a lot. So if you want to start that over, little bit over,
talk about. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're good now. Just that whole bit when you.
Where did I start cutting out?
When you mentioned you're watching it with your son and you got to stay up late, and then
he's 14. He's been watching it since basically AEW day one. I try to view wrestling through the eyes of a kid. Through when I probably started watching whenever Hulkamania. I try to be 12 when I watch wrestling. You know what I mean? I look at my favorite wrestlers are the guys I want to be when I grow up. You know what I mean? And that was one of those moments where I wasn't, a 48-year-old dude who knows what kayfabe means and who knows what what the hard cam is. When those guys are out there talking, I'm 12 and I'm just a little kid melting because these guys are so fucking cool, That's what I look for. And when they can deliver that, then you've hooked me. You've got me, What What do you think Ospreay's going to end up doing at All In? He's got to have a match, right?
I mean, yeah, you got to have him. You got to have him at All In.
I mean, I know it's very early, but
yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. It's like, what do you do? Do you? What I would
against Claudio or something.
I wouldn't give him. There's got to be a story. They're gonna have to build a story for this. So I'm messing with my blinds. I'm trying to get better lighting in here.
Okay.
What I would do is, again, like I've talked about, even earlier, I talked about Ospreay's entrance is a cheat code for hype, right?
Mm-hmm.
I put him in the middle of the card.
Okay.
Dead like center. At a pickup in the middle of the card. You know, you're going to have like some real good banger match and then kind of a cool down match. And then he's the first one out of the gate right after that.
Right.
To pick the crowd back up for the second half. For the second half of the show, he comes out, you immediately get the Ospreay. I don't know who it's against.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like,
I don't know what story I would want to tell there, but that's where I'd put him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I would use it. I don't want to do this because I don't want to get this into like WWE booking territory, but you almost like it would almost be fun to kind of mirror the Cody Rhodes WrestleMania 40 finishing the story with a big schmoz ending with all the people, all the Death Riders coming in one by one and try to break up the match, and then all Team AEW coming in one by one to like put them down, and Ospreay being one of them.
Right. And Swerve being the last one.
Swerve being the
he's holding out.
Swerve being the Undertaker position of that whole thing.
Yep. Well, and you don't know what's he gonna do? You know what I mean? Yeah. And he can, and then the following Wednesday he comes out and he says, "I didn't do it for you, Adam Page. I did it for AEW." And then,
exactly. Yeah, because Swerve's never going to do anything to help Adam Page. Adam Page
until
then that's gonna have to happen.
Well, sure. Is it going to be against the Bucks or is it going to be against? Because whatever. I mean, I don't know how much you want to get into like armchair booking here, but like,
no, let's go for it. Like this.
I mean, if you want to super overdo it, MJF.
Oh, okay. Here's the thing. I don't like overbooked stuff. No. Unless AEW does it, because they're just so good. Because they somehow
managed to get it to work.
AEW puts on 8-man tags every other week, and they're amazing every time.
Because when stuff is overbooked in AEW, either it ends up making perfect sense at some point. You know, the storylines come together, or it's just so fucking batshit crazy that it doesn't even matter.
Because every moving piece moves at the same time. They're not just like, okay, there's an 8-man tag. There's going to be 2 guys in the ring at once and another bunch of guys around the floor laid out because they've all beat each other down until one of them at a time gets enough energy to make a tag.
Right.
AEW hot tags are just, or AEW 8-man, 6-mans are just like nonstop action everywhere at all times.
Like you can't catch your breath.
Yeah.
But so back to that point. So if you want to overbook it and you have MJF try to fuck with him, because MJF does still want the title, and you have Swerve block MJF, that's where you can get Swerve back into a feud with the Hurt Syndicate, and the only man that can help him is the Hangman Adam Page. But whatever. That's why I'm not booking, you know? That's why I don't run a wrestling promotion, because I'm not that good at it. But I don't know. I mean,
okay. Let me talk this through real quick. Yeah, MJF is still like, he wants the Triple B back. We get to All In. Somehow the story is built up that he is involved. Somehow he's intermingled himself with the Hurt Syndicate taking on the Death Riders, a couple of the Death Riders as tag team matches because they want the tag titles. You'd say this, Claudio and Yuta want the tag titles.
Okay.
So now they're involved with the Hurt Syndicate. So now that means MJF is involved, and he's using that as an excuse to get a little closer to the world title.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the main event, or not, it doesn't have to be a main event, but now you've got you're at Y'all In, you got Mox and Hangman going, that's the world title match. And you're gonna have Death Riders involvement because they're gonna be around, but Hangman's got his people around. He's got a couple friends, coming around to like help back him up. Ospreay being one of them. So we get down to it and like, all right. The Death Riders, Claudio and Yuta are trying to, the ref's distracted or put down or something. He can't, he or she, if it's, Aubrey. I hope it's Aubrey. That would be the best. I would love Aubrey Edwards to be the ref for this match. That would be perfect. Anyway, the ref is ref is down. If it's Aubrey Edwards, the ref is down because Mina Shafir just took her down. Whatever. And then Mina Shafir takes down Aubrey Edwards. Then Willow comes out and just fights Mina Shafir off. We keep that going because that's I want that feud.
Yes,
to keep going. So then you got Claudio and Wheeler Yuta come out, and they're trying to mess with
Paige.
They're trying to mess with Paige and keep him away, like keep him from getting like the pin or like break up his buckshot attempt or something like that. Then Hurt Syndicate comes out and they're trying to like fight off they're trying to fight off Claudio and Yuta because they've got issues with the tag title scene or whatever. And then MJF comes out and now he's alone trying to beat down Mox. Mox.
Okay.
MJF comes out and he's trying to come out and beat down on Hangman.
Paige.
Yeah, Hangman. And then you don't see him come in, but like out of nowhere, you don't see him come in because the cameras are positioned just right. But out of nowhere, Swerve comes in.
Right.
House calls MJF and takes him out. And then Hangman's able to like get in position for the buckshot or something on
and
on Mox.
A little moment of respect,
Yeah, and then they just have that like, I didn't do this for you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I mean that's
it's just there you
it's
go.
All cool. I like it all.
Yeah. There's just so many fun things you can do with all this because you've got so many fun pieces in place to play with.
And everybody's involved. It's like, just like there's so many people moving into that.
That's the thing that this whole Death Riders storyline is really supposed to be, is getting everybody else involved against them.
Right.
And they just haven't really, until All In, not All In, Double or Nothing, until the Anarchy in Arena, they didn't really put that part of the story together.
It took a little bit to get
It took a little bit.
Yeah.
But Anarchy in Arena was just
great.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Again, another just like perfectly booked multi-person match.
I found it interesting how often it would kind of ebb and flow to where like it would hit a point where it just felt like your standard Death Riders beatdown, Here they are, they're beating everybody up just like they do every single week after week after week. But then it would like, it went right back into this, like the heroes get their comeback. Like it had such a cool flow to it. I guess I don't really have the language to describe it, but I was really impressed with it. It wasn't as silly as some of the previous ones, which I like the silliness. So it was interesting, just a different here's how this is just a different take on it, you know.
You didn't think? I thought it was.
I mean, no, it was silly.
It was okay. It wasn't goofy.
It wasn't Matt Hardy getting shoved underwater.
Okay, that's fair.
It wasn't like
that's fair.
Hangman riding on a horse. Like there was comedy in it.
The comedy was more well integrated.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't these big like.
It wasn't like here's the comedy spot and then back to wrestling.
No, yeah,
it all flowed together.
It wasn't this big, broad slapstick thing. It just, there were just little moments where they just interjected something and you kind of look for it.
Swerve staple gunning everybody in the ring.
Dude,
I lost it during that. Especially the like just he gets kicked and he's just like right in the Jacksons.
Right. That shit's awesome.
Like that was I had so much fun watching that match. That was like I would honestly people always like, oh, what wrestling match would you use to get somebody that doesn't like wrestling into wrestling? I was like, I just show them that.
Yeah.
Like this is everything that wrestling is about. A little bit of everything. If you don't like any of this, you're not gonna like wrestling.
Right.
If there's nothing that you can latch onto in this match, you're not gonna.
Yeah, you're just it's okay, it's not for you. It's
you know. And then drowning pool bodies playing the entire time.
Dude, that's great. What a perfect choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what's the most wrestling song you can think of?
It's like
everybody's singing along. You know?
I don't like new metal. But I love it when it's wrestling. But you put it over a wrestling match, I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what this music was made for.
Yeah. Yep. It's a song that sounds like a wrestling theme anyway, so it may as well be one.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's got the counting thing.
Yeah.
Did you see that video somebody posted? Like somebody was there and they like posted like the first 30 seconds to a minute or whatever, where it's not, the television feed. It's just somebody's phone. And it's just, man, the energy in that arena.
Yeah.
And you can hear people giggling. Like I was sitting on my couch just giggling and laughing.
Yeah. Whoop. Where'd you go?
Off there? Oh, here we go.
Sorry. Yeah, there you are. You disappeared. Now you're back.
And you could hear the people around them giggling and laughing and stuff, and it was just fun. It was so hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, I was so happy.
Like again, community, camaraderie. Like
I was so happy watching that whole match. Yeah. It was just
that show, and I don't know if this is one of your topics, but it was too long. Dude, that show was like an hour and a half long.
I forgot about the people complaining about how long it was.
Because no one was. Nobody was. It's bullshit.
People just making stuff up.
Nobody complained.
Yeah.
But it's like I remember just being at, I don't remember what it was, like 10 o'clock or something, and I'm like, how can it be this late? Like this, I felt like I had just turned it on. It was just flew by.
No, because it was just the pacing was so good.
Super well done.
I mean, I could talk forever just about the Anarchy in the Arena match. There's so many other matches. What was the other? Okay, so the bookends were the Owen tournament.
The bookend. Oh.
Yeah, first the opening match first and last match. And start off with like Hayter and Monet. And you start the show with that because you start a show with a match that you want to set the pace,
right? And that's it.
that's how you start. That's how you set the pace. All right, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah,
like that was, and there was so much, for all the kind of all the shit that like AEW has gotten over the past couple of years about kind of short changing the women's division. Just going, okay. I heard you.
Now they're finally doing it, and it's deserved. They, because they didn't have a good women's division, and they didn't focus on. Well, I shouldn't say that. They had a good women's division that they just didn't focus on at all. Or, I mean, I don't know. Maybe back in the early.
They had good pieces, but they didn't have
fair enough. Yeah,
enough. They didn't have the right pieces to make the right rivalries.
Right. I mean, like a lot of folks were green in the beginning. It felt like, you know what I mean? But now that they're doing it, it's full steam ahead. You know,
full
it's
steam ahead.
just,
Yeah, and
here
it's
you go. This is
yeah.
it. Here's
And
two of
even
best
on the
doing it.
buy-in, they had like women's tag team wrestling.
Mhm.
Not we're gonna have a tag team match just because like these 4 people have all had issues and we're gonna throw them all together. No, these are tag teams now.
They're wearing matching gear.
They're wearing matching gear.
Yeah.
They're using tag team maneuvers.
Yep.
They're doing.
We're getting belts soon, right?
We have to. That is the soft launch for the tag team division,
Yeah.
and what a launch that was!
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
great match.
Oh, I didn't see the. I'm sorry, I didn't see the buy-in. Did they do the same match on Dynamite?
They did the same match, but they did.
It was always a Texas Tornado or whatever.
Yeah, it was a more straightforward tag team match.
I didn't see their match, and I heard you're not the only person who's raved about it.
The buy-in match was actually better.
Okay, yeah, everybody.
It was a straightforward tag team match. Okay. It was a tag team match that that FTR were looking at and go, that's a good tag team match.
Okay,
that's how tag team wrestling should be.
Right, and I love my daughter.
Yeah, I love my daughter. I love God. I love wrestling. That order.
Yeah. I was thinking actually, my son and I were talking about going to FTR for Halloween. I'm like, all I gotta do is shave a little bit. And I'm like,
you're ready. You're half there. You're halfway there.
You gotta grow a mullet, kid. But
do it. No, make him do it the opposite way. If he wants to do it, make him do it. Make him be FTR.
It can be.
If you buy a wig, you buy a little mullet wig.
You can grow a little 14-year-old mustache.
Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah. But that tag team match on the buy-in was a good tag. That was straight up perfect tag team wrestling. They did. Awesome. But yeah, so we go into the main card. Monet versus Hayter, real stiff match. Just as you would expect from Hayter, and he's expect from Monet.
Bruiser, dude.
Monet always meets her opponent where they are.
Mm-hmm.
That is a thing I think people don't realize about who Mercedes Monet is as a wrestler. Super adaptable. If she's fighting Chris Statlander, she's going to meet Chris Statlander on her terms.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not having the same match over and over and over. She's not just doing her.
There's not a Mercedes Monet match.
No.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put up that genius graphic again.
I'm gonna just save that one.
I mean, yeah, just why don't you put that on the ticker the whole time?
I might do that. Yeah. Yeah, that's my
just to prove that you're the only adult on the internet.
Yeah. I could actually
sweet.
keep I might be able to do that while we're talking. But that match. What did you think about that match? And I'm going to do this real quick.
What do I think about that match?
Yeah. What was
I thought it was great. I'm a fan of both. I'm a huge Mercedes fan. I liked her back in NXT. It was where I first would have seen her. Again, she falls under that category of you're so if a wrestler that's cool is a wrestler I want to be when I grow up. And she's so cool that it's like I don't know. I just think she's awesome. She backs it up in the ring. Jamie Hayter, bruiser. I thought Jamie Hayter broke her neck at the end with that roll up because it looked super scary to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just I don't think you said it. It's a good match. It's a good start.
It was
a super good kickoff because like you said, it's a super good match, but it puts you in that mood. You know, it gets you. Yeah. This is where we are. Okay, this is day one. You know,
and it had that. To borrow a cliche, it had a big fight feel.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. It was like, oh, it's a kickoff match, but it didn't feel like a kickoff match.
No,
it felt like we're putting this on first because we need everybody possible to see this.
And they do a good job with Mercedes with that. I feel like she has a lot of big fight feel matches where you she's important by the way they present her. And I don't know that I have the language to be more specific, but it's a big fight feel.
Oh. No, your language is good.
Well, I'd love to go into more detail. I'd love to go into extreme detail. But yeah, that was killer. What was the next match after that? Are we going match by match, or are we?
No, we're not going to go match by match because I don't remember. I don't remember the entire card. I'm just trying to think of things as they. as they come to me about the show, because we already did. It's hard. It's hard to think about things outside of the
moment.
Outside of the moment, but also outside of the what do you call it? Anarchy match.
Oh yeah. Because it was that and the.
It really did. It did really did.
Overwhelmed.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember where we were at because I want to talk about the the bookends of the show.
Yeah.
So we start with the Owen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And we end with the Owen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we get Hangman and Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
And here's people always want to talk about, well, not always. I think he's really proven this case in the last couple of years. But there used to be the discussion that Ospreay was just a flippy dude, over choreographed. All his matches are kind of the same, whatever. Okay, fine. Yeah, he's flippy. There's a lot of choreography. There's a lot of, you got to work together with him. You got to have good chemistry with him to have a good match with him. But also, like, everybody's had a good match with him. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's not, he maybe just has chemistry with everybody because he's so good. But I've seen a lot of flippy matches. Mm-hmm. I've never seen flippy matches that feel as much of a fight as his matches feel like. Mm-hmm. Like, it doesn't feel like he's doing flips to do flips. It feels like he is using his agility to counter and react and strike his opponent in ways they are not expecting, and to get out of things in ways they're not expecting. Mm-hmm. Everything he does still feels like a struggle. It feels like a fight, but he's just a very athletic person being put into a fight that has abilities that most people don't.
It's a lot of wrestling has what I always call like Looney Tunes physics,
Yes.
This does not make your punch stronger. Okay. Yeah. But it does in wrestling. And Will Ospreay is a perfect example of that, where he's Looney Tunes physics the whole way, but there's a weight to it. There's, he's not just light and flying and floating like a feather. He is, but that feather weighs, 195 pounds and it hits hard. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like there's just a little more. I don't know if it's brutality, but like there's just more weight to his movements. And yeah, to your point about him having, you have to be able to work with him, but it just turns out that every single match he ever has, it's like remember
name a bad Will Ospreay match in AEW.
If you, it's like, remember whenever you see a wrestler from like the 80s interviewed and they're like, Andre the Giant was the nicest guy in the world, unless he didn't like you. Well, that's funny because everybody says that. So maybe Andre was actually a fucking asshole. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, right. Yeah.
If everybody says that, then maybe Andre wasn't that nice.
Yeah.
And it's like, but the opposite with Will Ospreay, where it's like, well, you have to know how to work with Will Ospreay. It just so happens that every single person on the roster knows how to work with him. He's just good. He's
just good. He can. He'll show you like.
Don't let Kenny Omega know I said this, but he is the best wrestler in the world. God damn it! You're gonna fucking meet Kenny Omega now.
if there were some super secret chat that a lot of us were involved in, the people involved in that chat are gonna be so mad at you for saying that.
They know I love Kenny, and they know that we always love Kenny.
We all love Kenny, but I think at this point, even Kenny is like, "It's Will. He's."
I mean, we all get old.
Kenny's like, I'm beating the hell up. Like, Will is the future.
Well, and he's even got that, like, they both have that dorky likableness. Kenny coming out and being like, "Oh, this song's no good. Let's go back to some of that 2000s alternative rock." My mom, like,
it's just he's like, but he set it up so perfectly because it's like it's kind of a dorky song, and but it was so perfect for the moment, and him introducing it.
I find it very endearing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And again, that's Drowning Pool is from DFW. Like, I heard that song before anybody else did.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool.
Like the demo for that was played on like the late night radio, like the
Okay.
adventure, like the, of our local rock radio
God.
station.
So you've had it stuck in your head even longer than the rest of us.
The demo was so much better. I don't want to be
Really?
that hipster dude for a new metal song, but the demo was so much better. Because it didn't have that weird like effect on the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
That weird like
just a little more straightforward.
Yeah, it was just a little like it was just riff.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, I don't want to be a hipster for new metal, but it was like, the original was much better.
It's okay.
But I'm still like, I feel like a lot of, just a lot of like, not just even nostalgia, but just like, hey, like this show is leading into the biggest show you've ever had in my hometown, and you're using a band from, my area for one of your big matches on it. Like that was just like, all right,
cool.
Like that really ties in a lot of like real good feelings, real good emotions for all of that.
Awesome.
It's just cool. Fun. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. That's another, I mean, even besides just like the good wrestling and the great characters and just everything about it, like AEW hits those little moments like that occasionally, I don't know
they
if
don't bury superstars in their hometown. They actually celebrate.
Yeah, they actually like, hey, like we're in your hometown. Like you want to just like beat the hell out of somebody and go over.
Well, and that's another thing with like their use, the songs they use, the types of music they use. Again, goes back to that whole community thing and that whole like we're all just at a party watching wrestling. And listening to fucking Final Countdown or whatever,
Oh no, don't! I can't listen to Final Countdown anymore.
You dislike it, or it just?
No, I'll cry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, because Bryan Danielson just made that.
I love hearing it now because it kind of like it warms my heart. But I understand what you're saying.
It warms my heart, but it's also just like.
Yeah,
like it's emotional now. It's there's a layer of emotion I did not expect to like when I heard that when he was coming out for that match.
For his final match, or
the final match and the match where he won the title.
Okay,
both of those matches.
I'm sorry,
but especially that final match. He comes out and it's the final countdown, knowing it's the final countdown.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's why they're playing it.
Yeah.
It starts hitting and then it sinks in when they hit the line. It's the final countdown. I was just like,
everybody's.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Oh no.
I had a buddy over watching that show and we're talking about it, and I kind of like had to like do one of those things where I'm like, sorry.
Sorry, like. This middle-aged wrestler has made the middle-aged me cry.
Right. I so many years ago, I went to a Ring of Honor show, and I did not know who Bryan Danielson was.
Oh,
a little bit of reputation. That's about it. As I kind of like wasn't in it at the point, and it was like
whenever. Okay, you say a couple years ago, but like a couple years ago when Bryan Danielson's
ROH. Did I say a couple years ago?
Yeah, that's like
20 years ago.
Yeah, that's
Well,
there's people on the roster in AEW that weren't born when you saw Bryan Danielson.
So many years ago,
Kyle Fletcher was the baby when you saw.
And so anyway, many years ago, or a couple, I went and saw them, and and I remember like the whole pounding on the thing, and everybody was just get so into it. And again, that was like my first introduction to the guy, and it was a moment,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all. It's cool. It was just really cool.
That's great. Like wrestling can just hit you. Emotionally can just hit you when you don't expect it. Like,
and it's nostalgia because we presume you've been watching since you were a kid. I'm guessing. Too.
Yeah.
Like or even if it's only in your 20s or whatever. I mean, there's nostalgia, but then it's when you have like these Hangman and Ospreay type promos where you get so into it. Combined with your whole lifetime, combined with your kids sitting on the couch, if you're me, it's just like it just gets you at these points, and I love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's
There's been a few times that wrestling has saved my life, so to speak. So
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like Hangman, the longer this story has been, because it's one story.
Mhm.
Hangman is from the beginning of AEW.
From day one, yeah.
From day one, this is a continuous story the entire time.
Mhm. And that's rare, right?
That's so rare, and it's so amazing they've been able to thread that story through so many different feuds and shows and matches, and just
different
this continuous like
people
story
coming
arc
in and
of this
leaving
character. Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's so relatable, at least to me. I don't know how other people, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to Hangman. Anxious millennial cowboy.
Hangman somehow feels like a big brother, even though he's like 10 years younger than me.
Yeah, he feels like I just like, I don't even know if like, I wouldn't say even big brother for me, because but we're the same age. I might be older than him. I don't even know. But I feel just like, I look at that guy and I'm like, I know him.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am him. Of just like, that's why I use Hangman as my avatar in most like social media stuff. I'm just like, I connect with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
his insecurities,
the anxieties, and trying to mask it with like, anger and alcohol and like.
So I got a friend of mine who was a lapsed fan, and AEW kind of got him back in.
Real quick, it's not an accident that I built this show around, having some drinks.
Oh,
makes it a little easier for me. It makes it a little easier for me to do the show.
It's weird to me to see your actual face, because I just think that you are Hangman.
I do too. I see people like repost that picture of him. I'm like, why are you using my profile picture? I'm like, oh no, that's Hangman at a page. That's not me.
No, a buddy of mine that kind of got back into wrestling like kind of full time, whatever. Maybe a couple years ago, 2 years ago, not at the very beginning, but now. And I remember he just made a comment where he's just like, so basically, everybody in AEW just has low self-esteem. That's their gimmick. I'm like, yup. And he's like,
it's
like that, and the same thing. It's like he's like, I can, and Hangman is his favorite too.
Yeah,
because Dusty Rhodes is his favorite back when he was a kid. He loves cowboys, but yeah, it's like he is a relatable guy. I mean, all those guys are. Hangman more so.
It's just pick your flavor of neurodivergence and anxiety, and like there's somebody on AEW roster you're gonna connect with.
Yeah. Did you go the alcoholism route? Did you go the I'm gonna break into your home route?
Yeah. Are you Are you like, I'm just an anxious cowboy, or are you a thrill-seeking dude that just wants to throw himself into panes of glass, like Darby Allin? Right. Like using pain as an escape. Right.
There's a connection for everybody, though.
There's some. I love it. Yeah, it's a. And I think that's why they're this stuff, relatable characters.
I can't relate to Cody Rhodes.
No, nobody can. Nobody can.
No.
If you tell me. If you tell me you relate to Cody Rhodes on a personal level, right? Where were you on January 6th?
Right? Yeah. Exactly, with Chris Jericho's wife.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
okay. I have to say this right now. I'm sorry to step on you. No. Have you also noticed that AEW television has been better since Jericho's been off of it?
Yeah.
The overall product has been better without Jericho on it.
Yeah, and I have tried. I
don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy.
No, and I was a Jericho fan, WCW stuff. I've traditionally always been the lighting just got a lot better. Did something happen?
I'm still playing with the lighting because it's my...
I don't know if it got better, but it just
changed. The sun went down, so I'm not getting any outside lighting, and like now I'm at the mercy of...
I've tried to be the guy that defends Jericho, and in a lot of ways, I still give him a lot of credit for reinventing himself and doing for different things. Yeah. But boy, the learning tree wasn't it.
That was bad. That was bad. That was not good.
And
that
it
was
never
not
quite got
good.
There were moments where it would get better for a second, but it was like the one time where you're kind of like, ooh, this is the missing. But it has been better without him. I don't, I know why he's on. He's a big star. He's a big name. And again, he can still, if nothing else, to get people who go, oh, that guy, I remember him. Oh, he can still do that shit, But yeah, it has been better without him. I mean, that's true. I don't know if that's a direct correlation, but I don't care if he doesn't come back,
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's maybe not direct correlation, but it's also like, I just noticed it's a big coincidence. I also
kind of like
noticed
Will Ospreay, how you have to learn how to work with him.
Yeah, exactly. I also noticed I lost a lot of interest in WWE after Ilya Dragunov got injured.
Oh, okay. I don't really watch WWE.
I don't know why. I just that's something I noticed. I was because I was still,
he's
this most recent WrestleMania is the first one in a couple of years I've missed.
Okay.
And I didn't even miss it. I was just I'm not watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just trying to think back. I was when did I just because it felt like just a Thanos snap. And I was just I don't like WWE anymore. Because I was following it. Most of the people I've met on Threads and Sickos Club and this whole community that we built started at WrestleMania 40. Me just posting on Threads the second night.
Okay.
And just hey, who's talking about wrestling? And everybody was I just immediately all these people were just following me, and I was following back.
40? Which one's 40? Which one's 40? I don't know.
That was Finish the Story. That was the Finish the Story.
Oh,
Cody Rhodes. Was it 40?
Let's just say it was.
Either way, whatever it was the Finish the Story. Cody Rhodes, he gets the title and all that shit.
Did finish the story,
he actually finished the story.
Okay.
He got the title. He beat Roman Reigns.
Is that really? That's when all this stuff started?
For me, is when I started getting introduced to all these wrestling fans online, and it snowballed, and then it turned into all the sickos, the sicko community found me and hey, you like wrestling, come talk to us. And I was okay, y'all seem cool. And that's what led to me doing this show, because everybody was so I was hey, I kind of want to do a show, and they're do it right now. Start right now.
Very encouraging group of people.
Very encouraging group of people.
Really good group of people.
I love that group of people.
If you want to do a whole show about how much I love Sickos Club, it's gonna be a 4-hour show. Dude.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh yeah. I could do that show. We could do that show later. But yeah, that's that's kind of how all this snowballed and started in. But I was still I was still trying to follow WWE for a while, and it's just as I was watching more of the weekly WWE, but also trying to follow more of the weekly AEW at the same time, and having the conversations with the sickos, I was just no, I don't need the WWE stuff anymore. This is not doing it for me.
Right.
It's not. I watched it because it was the easiest wrestling to watch,
and it's what we grew up on. We all liked it.
Yeah. And I was okay, I'm going to start keeping up on the weekly shows. And I was starting to watch bootleg streams of Raw or SmackDown. I was all right, I'll suffer through this. But then I realized well, if I could find bootleg streams of Raw and SmackDown, I could find bootleg streams of Dynamite.
Anything.
So I'm going to start watching that. And then Dynamite and Collision and everything went to Max. I was well, this is just so much easier now.
Yeah.
And that's what really
but also been using Triller.
But also that switch also just happened to be around the same time. Ilya Dragunov got injured and got taken off of WWE programming. And I love that dude.
That's your dude?
He's the squirreliest, weirdest little pain monkey. Just
he's
beat the hell up.
Is he aligned with somebody else? Or is he on
his own? I think he was on his own. As far as I remember. But he was just this weird little Russian dude that they would send out to let Gunther beat up.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason I associated him with Gunther, and I didn't know why.
Yeah, well, they just had a really good series of matches.
Okay.
They had a good little rivalry because he's smaller and he could take a lot of punishment.
Right. Yeah, I think my checkout moment with WWE was when Triple H beat Booker T.
That was
fucking time ago.
Yeah, but that's probably when everybody should have done it. That was probably the right time for everybody to have done so.
And it was just a thing where I was just like, huh. Well, I can't deny that. I can't deny that just happened. You know what I mean? Like this very obvious, stupid thing that shouldn't have. By any wrestling logic in the world, by any moral decency in the world, there's just no way that should have happened.
Yeah.
And I remember that being kind of like that. Because, I mean, like after WCW died, they didn't have a reason. I mean, people,
why try? Why try anymore? We got the whole.
And don't get me wrong, I always came back. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I was gone forever. I would always follow like websites. I didn't really watch.
Yeah.
And then I would come back and I'd try to watch it. And it never, certain things. I liked the Shield, I liked Daniel Bryan at the time, and so like when I was a big Punk fan at the time, and like his title reign I really liked, but it was like when he was the world champion and he was a mid-card guy or whatever. So it's like even when I dug it, I'd watch it for certain guys, but the overall thing had already kind of faded. And once you start seeing stuff like Ring of Honor, and when you start getting introduced to New Japan, it was hard for me to look at WWE and be like, oh, I want to watch that, because I liked that more gritty style and the, wrestling. Yeah. I like wrestling.
Wrestling.
And I don't think WWE does wrestling,
No, not anymore. Like, and I got back into it through NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically,
I watched NXT. I liked NXT. Go ahead.
So oh no, it's all right. So what? Okay, step by step, it was like
Let's recant our wrestling.
Yeah, recant the wrestling. back into wrestling. So I was bored and I was on YouTube and I was like, I want to look up old wrestling stuff.
Okay.
And that led me to find.
What year is this? What year do you think
this was?
Give or take.
2015 or so.
Okay.
Right about there. And I was like, I'm going to look up old wrestling stuff. And that led me to actually find What Culture Wrestling on YouTube.
Okay.
And they had all these videos, tons of videos, lists and recaps and, vintage stuff they were talking about. I was like, wow, there's a whole treasure trove of just like weird British dudes talking about wrestling that I grew up on.
Right.
And I covered this a little bit in one of the episodes because this is like because Adam Blampier was part of it, and we had a whole discussion about Adam Blampier being a sex pest. And
okay, I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, that's a whole thing you got to look up.
It's another episode.
He was a big part of the original like What Culture Wrestling YouTube like boom period for that channel. So I got into that and I was watching that and I was like, so then I started looking around for like, okay, what's going on in wrestling right now? What's the stuff that like, is current? And I found, I heard about the Omega Okada matches at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes.
And I heard about, so I found those on YouTube, and I heard about NXT and Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's around when I was getting.
Yeah, and I watched that. I watched that match, and I was like, "Oh, this is what wrestling is now."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's fucking go!
Right.
Oh, and also around the same time was the Ospreay Ricochet Best of the Super Juniors.
Okay.
Viral clip.
Okay.
So I was like going I was like going to all my friends like, watch this. Watch this.
Right. Yeah, and see, it's always like, even when I would be out of watching it, like I would always watch old stuff. I would always try to like, you're connected to it. I don't go to the comic shop every Wednesday, but for the longest time I tried to still keep up with what was going on, even though I wasn't, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Omega Okada, and then Jericho going over and wrestling. Because I had some buddies who were super into New Japan. I didn't have it. I didn't have access to it. And they were super into New Japan, Ring of Honor. And so I would go over to their house and just they'd show me stuff, but and then Cody leaves, and then everything, when everything starts happening,
all that stuff,
and it was perfect. It was like, oh, okay, I'll check this new company out. I like some of these guys. I know who some of them are. I like Lucha Underground. And Helico was on there, etc. And and when AEW launched, real quick, I won't go super into detail, but if you want to talk about those wrestling saved my life things, COVID hits. I'm working in an OR at a hospital, and my dad is sick and he's dying. And nothing's better than once a week, you turn it all off and you just watch wrestling. And the stuff that AEW did during the pandemic was so effing good. That all that stuff was just great work. And it was like a lifeline in a lot of ways. With, like I said, with all this other shit going on, and that's when it's like, I mean, I'm probably a bigger fan now than I was when I was a kid or when I was in my 20s.
Same.
I mean, we were obsessed in like the Attitude Era, and it's like I don't even think it's close to this.
Like I watched the Attitude Era. It was like, okay, this is what my friends are gonna be talking about tomorrow, so I got to keep up with it.
Yeah.
Whether I really enjoyed it or not, it was just like, this is just what you do.
At the time I did, but boy, I'll tell you what, I go back and I watch Attitude Era stuff now, and like,
that's rough. That's rough.
Yeah. And it's not even just because it's so gross, but like, there's just a lot of it's not as good as you thought it was.
No, it's really not.
It's like
because now it's like, especially if you're like an AW fan or an indie fan, ROH fan, like if you enjoy like modern professional wrestling, you go back and watch Attitude Era stuff, and it's like,
it's hard.
They're not doing anything.
Yeah,
there's no moves. They're just like, it's punch, kick, headlock, sell, run in, DQ.
And it's one of the beautiful things about professional wrestling is that you can't get bored with it because it's always changing. You know what I mean? You can rely on nostalgia, but only for so long, because eventually their knees are going to give out and they can't wrestle anymore. You know what I mean? So it's like it's always in motion, and you can't bring this guy back from the dead, and you can't, reboot the franchise. It's always moving, and that's like something that I really obviously you can tell I haven't been able to sit still this entire time. I like things, I like that it's like it's always evolving. And I go back and I watch that Attitude Era stuff, and it's just punch, punch, kick, 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 punch. I mean, whatever. I'm not trying to dog it. It's of its era, but
and it's like part of that era was like you don't do a lot on the show because you're saving everything for the pay-per-view. You got to sell the pay-per-view at the end of the month. That's fine. It is of the time. But I'm glad we're away from that time now.
Yeah.
Where you're going to have, matches, real competitive wrestling matches.
And I'm glad we're at a time where for the how are we? 6 years into AEW? Right?
Yeah,
6 and a half, whatever. Yeah. For the longest time, the narrative was AEW needs to. AEW should. AEW, and I remember the whole time I'm just sitting here thinking, you don't tell a dog to meow, it just like, let it be what it fucking is. And like, just let it exist. Let this new thing happen. And finally we're past that point. And it's like, oh, this is just cool. This is just like, and I don't know what has turned that tide, there's a whatever, but,
I wish there was like a way. I wish there was a way you could like put a pin on when that mindset changed, and when people are like, "Oh, this is its own thing now."
Right.
We can just allow it to be. Yep. Right. It is actually okay.
It's like relatively recent.
That is a good point. It has been very recently where it's just like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm gonna pin it to the start of the C2.
Yeah.
Or at least the start of the small venue era.
Yeah, that's a big. Well, and also there's the whole when all the people who were whining left, you couldn't focus on that anymore. You couldn't sit and talk about this. So that was gone, and then You can speak to this more than me because I don't watch, but it sounds like this year's WrestleMania wasn't that good.
I didn't watch it. I didn't care.
Oh yeah.
I just didn't care.
I'm sorry. I thought you were still kind of somewhat.
I watched Cody finish his story, and then I watched a couple episodes of Raw, and I was like, I can't watch 3 hours of Raw every week.
I'm sorry.
This is so bad. And especially if Ilya Dragunov isn't going to be on my TV.
So I think it's all those things kind of happening at the same time.
Yeah.
But then the C2 is a good way to showcase all your talent.
It was a good move to go to the smaller venues and just
everything
pack them full of rabid fans. And then that coinciding with the C2 and doing that at the where was the where do they have most of that at? That ballroom.
What
was the name of that place?
They didn't do it in Hammerstein, did they? Yeah.
Was it Hammerstein? Yeah.
Well, which has
that residency there.
Yes.
Like that was really good. That changed the core temperature of the show. That was like, oh, this is what we need to be doing.
Yeah.
Just get we'll do a small room. We'll do a smaller room. We'll pack the shit out of it full of people that really want to be there.
Yeah. And it looks like if it's the Hammerstein, if it's where were they in Detroit? You know.
Yeah.
They're going to be doing the Aragon in Chicago. And it's like, hey, guess what? Not only do we have the best wrestling in the world, we're doing it at the Muppet Show. Because all those fucking places look like the Muppet Show.
Yeah, and they're doing these theaters that are just, it really does.
And
like
there's the arched things and everything, you know.
Because they have to build their sets around the way the building is made up, the way the building is set up.
And then
every show looks a little different, and they incorporate that into the set design. And it just gives
Temple.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
But like
because I'm from Michigan.
It's fine. But like think about it this way. Every SmackDown, every Raw looks the same. Because they're just in generic arenas where
and
they
that was fine for its era, but the era's passed.
But every AW, like, you know, every couple weeks, AW looks completely different. And there's just a different crowd with a different energy, but it's a high energy. And like sometimes you get like a 3-story theater where there's people just like they look like they're falling over into the ring while they're cheering. Like, how cool is that? This is like Thunderdome shit.
There's a blast.
That's Mad Max.
Yeah. It's always
with wrestling in the middle of it. Like 2 men enter, 1 man leave. Like, let's go. Give me that.
Cool. Yep.
Super cool. Love it.
A good time.
All right. So we are.
Yeah. What's next on your topic list?
I mean, we've run through all the topics. We're at 2 hours now. I don't know how you're feeling.
Dude, I'll talk for hours.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like you seem like you're not. You seem like you're just getting started. Like you're just ready to go with everything, and I'm fine with that. Like I keep telling everybody, it was like, hey, it's gonna be like an hour-long show. I'm like, it's never.
I know. I looked it up on YouTube. I'm like 3.5 hours. What the fuck?
Well, like I've had 2 shows go to an hour, and one was with Blade because he's a professional, and we just both knew we had to hit the hour mark. And the other one was like last week's. It was just me by myself, and I was like, I'm dragging this into an hour,
right?
Because I didn't have enough. I didn't have enough to talk about.
Unless
I dragged that to an hour.
An hour is hard by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, I got some questions I can answer. Like, you know,
are there more people in the chat commenting or no?
There's no more comments in the chat. There's 1 viewer right now.
I hope it's not Blade because I'm going to say. You're right. He is really fucking professional. Super professional.
Yeah, he's real good at this. Like, he's great. He's great.
No, he's awesome. He's the guy that got. I think his stuff on Threads is what really like. Hey, here's this guy who's just like being nice about wrestling.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then him and Joshi G.
Yeah,
Jay's the husband. I'm sorry. She pops up. And then they do a podcast. I'm like, well, this is cool. And it's the Shota Umino day. Remember when everybody changed? That was when I was like, I kept seeing, because I don't comment on social media that much. You know what I mean? I don't really think my don't think I have anything that interesting to say, and I'm always like trying to be witty, and it comes off.
You're talking down on yourself too. You're too hard on yourself.
I appreciate
you've been great this entire time. Like, this has been.
Then again, that's a testament to the community. You're a great host.
Thank you.
But seeing all these folks, and I saw these other folks interacting, and I would get in there a little bit, and then that Shota Umino day, I didn't even know who the guy was, but I'm like, I guess I've heard the name, I don't know. Well, I know who he is now. And I felt like that's when it's like, for me at least personally, that's when it congealed into this, like, oh my God, these people are cool. And like, there's a whole subset. And again, and I mentioned this to some of you folks, AEW, we talk about how it's revolutionizing, it changed the world, and it's changing wrestling, the elite changed the world, whatever. We're moving away from that feeling of everything on the internet is a fight, and everything is a fuck you, and I'm right and you're wrong, and just having and disagreeing at times, but having like normal human conversations, and having, because the thing is, and this is why I don't like guys for a lot of reasons, but this is one of my biggest beefs with guys like Cornette and Bully Ray, and that whole thing is all the shit they do is dumb, whatever. But if we are looking at wrestling as theater, and we are looking at wrestling as an art form, it's not like we get, okay, you want to discuss the films of David Lynch, and I come in here and say, oh, you fucking Mark, what do you know about Twin Peaks? You wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Why do we do it? So when you do it, oh, this son of a bitch, he don't know. He's just doing all his flippy shit with the camera. You wouldn't do that with film. And when you do it with wrestling, you put this, like, you put these bars around it, and you can't discuss the art form. And it's even more disgusting because it's guys like Cornette, who was a big dude in the 80s, and Bully Ray, who was part of ECW. And these are both revolutionary time periods and revolutionary forces, and they're trying to squelch the next revolution for whatever reason. I presume it's money. I don't think they believe half the shit they say.
No.
But
it gets clicks.
But why would you try to hurt the art form that you are a part of? Oh, because you're all just a bunch of marks? That's fucking dumb, I want to talk about this art form. I want to talk about the all the various layers, if it's psychology or if it's simply, hey man, I just like to watch two dudes punch each other, and you prohibit that when all you do is say flippy dippy, fucking what does he always call him? Laurence Olivier or whatever. And it's like,
oh shit, yeah.
It's like, dude, now you're just making these thinly veiled racist comments and homophobic comments, and let's talk about the art form. Let's move this art form forward. And so my point is, because I'm kind of a little bit fucked up now. The point is that with stuff like Sickos Club, and I know there's probably a million other people beyond just, our group of friends, and it's like, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're just going to talk, and we're going to be normal people now, So sorry, I'm rambling.
No, you're rambling straight into like the point of why I started doing this show. And why
to hear me ramble?
well, yeah, I want to hear. I want to hear rambles. I want to hear other people ramble. But why I bill myself as the only adult on the internet is because I am so tired of those. They're not conversations. They're just talking heads complaining about things because the things they're talking about left them behind.
Yeah,
because they refuse to stay, stay current. They refused to keep up with what was going on. They got left behind. They got mad. So now all they have to do is complain because complaints give them clicks.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, well, I want to talk about things I enjoy, and I want to talk about them in
right, clear
and concise ways, like adults do.
As an adult,
am I the only person that wants to do this? Am I the only adult on the internet.com? That's where that all came from.
Right, and I love that. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
So
because I'm still playing. I'm still gonna have to play the game. I still have to play the algorithm game of like,
like having
to get this anywhere.
I'm sitting here talking about being nice and being kind to each other, and I've done nothing but bitch for 2 hours about WWE.
And again, that's what I'm saying. Like, I really just want to talk about things I enjoy, but just WWE this week pushed me into a corner, and I just wanted to like.
I've been in that corner for so long, and I'm so mad about it.
Yeah. So I'm glad you were the one that jumped into, it's like people don't know, like I didn't have a guest lined up for this episode. I just put out the call. It was like, hey, who wants to talk? Like, who wants to be on this episode? And the professor here was like, yeah, I'll bring my PhD to this.
No, well, again, I love being able to actually talk to you guys and actually, not just through text and whatever, or Blue Sky or wherever. I'm on Blue Sky. Everybody said they were going to Blue Sky, and they all stayed on Threads.
Same. I've got a Blue Sky. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
I know. I'm just
like Blue Sky just feels like Blue Sky almost feels like a less douchey LinkedIn.
Okay. I never used LinkedIn. I mean, I put my resume on it, but I never.
Yeah, well, same. Like I put, but like a lot of people now use LinkedIn as like a social media platform. And like,
I think so now. Yeah,
I'm a professional, and this is how you be a professional in this day and age. Like, okay, dude, I just want to get a job. Like, go away.
Right.
I just want to put my resume up here and like tell a little bit about myself, so people send me job invites.
Mm-hmm.
Please. But yeah, Blue Sky is like it's fine, but it just feels like it just feels too slick.
A little bland.
And then when I get on it's too bland. When I get on Threads, I'm just like, oh, it's just horny thirst posting.
Right.
And just like just people all over the map, just feral adults just
really
shooting things into the ether to see what is gonna click with somebody else. I'm just like, this is great. I love this. It's so weird and dumb and just
bizarre. I feel like on Blue Sky, I just see the same 5 people over and over and over.
Yeah,
and I go from following into discover, and it's just the same 5 people with like 1 or 2.
Well, the Blue Sky algorithm is so conservative, and not conservative in like a red state way.
Yeah,
but like conservative and like, okay, we know you like this, so we're going to show you this,
right?
And we might show you a little bit of something else, and if you don't respond to it, if you don't actually interact with it, you'll never see it again. Never see it again.
That's what it is then.
Yeah. And then like Threads, on the other hand, their algorithm is like, okay, you like wrestling, so we're going to see a lot of stuff about wrestling. But you know what else people that talk about wrestling like? Bondage. So you're going to see that. Yeah. It's just like, right? They just make some weird connections that you're just like, okay, I mean, you're not wrong. But
I wasn't.
I don't know how you got there.
That big of a jump.
Yeah.
Quick. I was gonna take.
I don't even know if that's just like that was the first word that popped into my head. I was just like, I'm trying to think of the things I'd seen. The things I had seen on Threads most recently before I jumped on the call. I was like, well, that's a little out of sorts, but okay.
I had no idea.
You're the algorithm. I'm just the user. But yeah, it's just like. No, Threads is fun if you just like get weird with it. Just let it be weird. Okay. Just let it be the weird. Like I honestly think Meta, Facebook, whatever, sent it out there and they realized like, oh, we don't know what to do with this. Just let it be whatever it's going to be, and we're just
letting it go and
just let it
go. Hope that it gets something. Yeah.
Yeah. If it gets us money and we can put ads on it later, fine. But like, oh, I don't know how this is going to work out. It's like you listen to a podcast and they have ads that don't have any relation to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still like, I might check that out. That's the Threads algorithm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. All right.
Yeah. It's like you're listening to like a wrestling podcast and they like throw an ad for like, pocket knives, and you're like, I mean, okay. I like pocket
I wouldn't.
knives.
I could use a pocket knife.
I can use pocket knife. That's fine. Okay,
Right.
cool. Yeah. And the next ad is bondage. You're like, what the hell? Why do you keep doing this to me, Threads?
Oh, you guys are into pocket knives? Here's Nugget Magazine.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening here?
Fantastic.
Yeah. We are 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could, and I'd probably say this every time, I could go another hour.
I could go. We got to come up with a topic, though.
Yeah, we don't really, like, there's nobody in chat, feeding us anything. We've run through all the topics that we had lined up. And I have a burp on deck. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I got nothing else. If you got nothing else, I'd say, like, call it here. Definitely. I definitely want you back on the show, like, more often.
I want to be back on the show more.
Yeah, hell yeah. This was.
No, I totally enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, for just a goof around episode of, like, we're just gonna run down some topics. Like, this is good. This is.
I had a great time.
Yeah, hell yeah. Give it another second. Just make sure nobody's gonna. Yeah, there's only one person watching.
Who's watching?
Thank you. I don't know. It won't tell me who's watching. It'll only tell me whoever you are. Thank you. Thank you for watching. It's probably my mom. She just likes hearing me talk.
Oh,
my mom. Well,
that's really sweet.
Yeah, she'll text me later, be like, "Why'd you cuss so much?" I'm like, "I didn't mean to. I'm sorry."
Why'd you let that guy? He just kept yelling about
so much cursing.
I hope your mom doesn't actually sound like that.
Yeah, no. I'll be like, I was gonna say, like, my mom doesn't know who Jim Cornette is, but like, she'll probably, like, tomorrow she'll be like, "Oh yeah, like I know who that is."
You think I don't know who Jim Cornette is?
Yeah, it was like I don't. I've had, like, my dad knew Jerry Lawler because they both grew up in Memphis.
He knew him?
Yeah.
Oh, holy shit!
Yeah,
that's crazy. Like, as a kid. Wow.
That's cool. They were like, yeah, he's just like, I think I was watching Raw one day, and he's like, "Is that Jerry Lawler?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like,
"Holy shit!
I remember that guy."
Was he aware of his wrestling career, like any of it, or he just?
Oh no, my dad was much older.
Much older than Lawler? Or
I think he was a little bit older than Lawler. I'm trying to remember.
But I mean, did he know that Lawler? Did he know? Oh, hey, that guy from home grew up to be a wrestler.
I think
in some vague level.
I think he knew he was, like, he was a wrestler from, Memphis.
Okay.
I don't think he realized, like, he got anywhere else.
Right.
Like, made to,
That's crazy.
Unless you knew him from, like, everybody knew the Lawler Andy Kaufman thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that was,
big. I used to work with the Sheik's granddaughter, which was really cool.
Really?
I was like, I worked at University of Michigan Hospital, and they hired this, new girl, and her last name is Farhat, and I'm like,
it was what now?
Farhat. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
I don't know.
And I was like, "Hey, are you related to Ed Farhat?" And she's like, she kind of like does like a what? And I'm like, and then I am like, "You are," like, I know you are. And she's like, "I can't believe that someone knows who that is." And I'm like, "Dude, we're 45 minutes outside of Detroit." Like,
yeah, right. Like, yeah, of course, yeah. You can't.
And it's not like I could, like, hit her up for stories. She just had a few. And like she'd be like, just whatever. It's not like she was on the road with the guy. She wasn't even born. But it was just cool. It was like, oh, that's so cool. You're the Sheik's granddaughter. Tell me about Sabu at family reunions.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, and she was a really nice person too, so that's even better.
Oh, nice. Well, it's like, I think it was I was talking to Zerpy, and I think it was on, I don't remember where it was. I think it was probably the first episode of the show. We're getting ready for it, and because he does the Bubba Cast, and I was like, how did you link up with Big Boss Man? How did you link up with Big Boss Man's daughter?
Yeah,
and he's like, oh no, we live in the same town. Like, we're friends. We just know each other from work or something.
Friends anyway.
Yeah, they already knew each other.
Wow.
I was like, what the hell?
It's cool. I
Yeah.
love those little, those little
And
connections.
forget, yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I think he was saying like they worked together or something like that. Like they just, they had met each other naturally, at least.
Right, not through like a wrestling thing at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool.
It's so weird.
I haven't
but it's also like it's like I look at every time I see Athena on TV, I'm like, I know you.
Is she from your hometown?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's from DFW.
Okay.
She's involved in one of the local indies, MPX, Metroplex Wrestling.
Okay. So you literally have seen her around back in the day, or?
Well, she looks so familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Even when she debuted even when I saw her on NXT, I was like,
I mean, it's not unlike.
Who are you?
Right?
I was like, well, because also she's like, she's kind of nerdy, like, she's into some,
Yeah.
Like it's not unbelievable that we ran in the same circles.
Okay.
Or at least had mutual friends.
Well, you're both wrestling fans.
Yeah. But it's just like I saw her as like when I was watching NXT and she came out as Amber Moon and they mentioned like she's from Texas. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
And ever since I'm like, where do I know you? I know you. I know I've seen you somewhere. But I can't.
I mean, if you went to a bunch of indie shows.
It's not even indie shows. I was just like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like I was in bands. I was in a lot of bands.
So
and it was like,
there you go.
Were you at what show when I was at?
Right.
Like, were you, yeah. Like, have I run into you at the mall?
That shit's so cool.
Something like that. It's so weird having those little like.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I have any. I mean, I have other wrestling connection stories, but none that are just natural. Like, we used to set up rings for some guys in Detroit, and Zach Gowen wrestled there. Like, that's where he started wrestling, I guess. Probably.
The one leg guy.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Gowen. Okay, yeah.
So we watched his whole rise, and and kind of fall from grace, and now he's redeemed himself. Everything. I think it's awesome. He's cool. It's cool. So you know what I mean? And like they would bring guys through. And like the Motor City Machine Guns, like we watched them pretty early on, but that's not one of those cool natural things. It's like we got a job doing that. And I'll tell you what, man, we set up rings for a whole summer, maybe into fall, and then they were like, "If you guys want to try to take bumps, you can." And
I would have been all over that.
I am not an athletic person. I never have been. I'm a comic book dork. I love Star Wars. And let me tell you something. I was sore for a fucking week, dude. I hurt so bad. I don't really have any muscle, and I had a lot less fat back then. I was just scrawny. Kudos to anybody who does it. We all say that, but my God, my scrawny ass was not fit to do that. But how cool! Like, what a great experience. So fun.
Hell yeah. I would jump all over that. I would jump all over that. Okay, so personal story, like a couple months back, I wake up, my chest hurts, and not in like a I can't breathe right, or like the muscles and tendons on my chest hurt, like physical pain. And I'll like get up and I'll like go in the bathroom and look at my chest and just red.
Really?
And I was like, what the hell? And I was like, I was out with a couple friends the night before, and I was like, man, my chest hurts, and it's all like bruised and it's weird looking. It was like, oh yeah, while we're at the bar, you made us chop you.
Okay, I had a feeling it was gonna go in because you said I was out with some friends. I'm like, they just fucking chopped each other up.
Yeah. I was just like, hey, fucking chop me. Let's go.
Oh God, just chopping each other constantly. We used to do it all the time.
Yeah. And now it's like, okay. That's kind of it's like a little bit of a bucket list item. It's also like, but those are just my friends. Those aren't like
yes, that wasn't Samoa Joe.
I want to do there in my bucket list is like legitimately I want to do a full on like crash course day long, wrestling training thing.
Give me the movie star version.
Yeah.
Train me, not me because I don't want to.
Yeah, do to me whatever y'all did to Mickey Rourke to get ready for the wrestler.
Yeah. Or
give me that.
The people in the Von Erich movie.
Yeah,
you know
or that.
Like, give me the training you gave them.
Yeah, I just want to. I want to know how all of that feels. So when I watch wrestling later, I can really dig into oh, I know what that is. Yeah, I know what that feels like.
I don't know if I need to because I'm kind of at a point where I see stuff happen. You know when you get that chill that goes like through your whole body and even into your arms, and you're like, oh, like that kind of chill. That's what I get every time I see those guys hit the ground. I'm like, oh god, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt. Like, oh,
I think I'm just
crying.
I think I'm just a glutton for punishment. Like I just enjoy.
I get it. You want to experience stuff,
but also I'm a trained like weightlifter and I did strongman training and stuff like that. Anything like that is that's something I'm just like I need physical activities.
Yep.
I need to feel things to like enjoy life.
Right. Totally. I get it.
I
did not know that. That's a really interesting fact.
Yeah.
You are the guy I need to talk to about my kid's workout regimen. You were the right guy when I sent you that email.
Oh yeah, I can help a little bit. It just depends on what they're trying to do. What their goals are.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Putting on. What does he say? Increasing my gains, bro. That's what I hear.
Download the Boost Camp app.
Maybe.
Let me double check real quick what the name of this. Yeah,
now we're getting into my child's workout regimen.
Yeah, but I want to help. Like I wish I had gotten into weightlifting when I was younger.
I wish I had any inclination towards sports when I was younger, or just athletic activity. Because now that I'm older, I would like to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and I've just been like out of shape, and like I'm like kind of have arthritis and shit. So like it's not as easy, but it's I like there's nothing, like getting a runner's high or whatever that kind of thing is like. Yeah, there's definitely something to physical exertion, and I used to just think my body was a vessel that housed my brain, and now I realize it's this whole other cool thing.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. You can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a little late, but I'm still doing it. That's cool.
That's fair. No. So here's what I'm going to propose. Been a great conversation. I'm enjoying everybody. I'm enjoying everybody that joined in and talked to us. Good times. Cut it off here. We're going to stay in the lobby. I'll talk to you a little bit about workout stuff.
Cool.
Unless, I don't know, do you think people want to hear about workout stuff?
No.
Probably not.
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean,
do they want to hear about workout stuff?
There's only one person. They're not jumping in the chat. There's one viewer, and they're just not jumping in the chat.
Your mom's like, I don't want to work out, dude.
I don't want to work out. She knows I work out. She knows where I go. She
knows what you do.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we can wrap it up and we can hang out in the lobby for a minute if you want.
All right. Sounds good to me.
I promise next time I'm on, I'm not going to just stare at myself the whole time because I can't stop looking at myself.
That's fair. Dude, don't look whatever you want to look like. It is. There's a reason why my laptop has all of my notes and everything on it. And I put the camera to the side so I don't just
I'm going to put a book over here next time. So
that's why I bought a separate camera so I don't look at my laptop and just stare.
I know.
And I can make a point of when I want to make a point to somebody, I'm like,
I have been trying to do that.
Don't be a weird dork.
Right.
You do that to camera. But this has been the pregame with Kurt Jangle. I've been Kurt Jangle. My guest today has been
Professor Degree.
You got anything to plug? You got anything you want people to follow you anywhere?
Yeah. I'm on Blue Sky. I think is it Professor _Degree?
I don't know.
Not positive. Hold on. Let me see.
Oh, so send me your links and I'll put those in the show notes.
Nope,
when
it's
I
just
post
professor
this.
degree, whatever, dot blue sky, dot whatever, social. You
Yeah.
can find me. I wrote a book. Can I plug my book?
Plug it whatever you
It's
want.
on Amazon, so I know that's kind of a sticky situation. Sometimes I have it right here because
Yeah,
I was prepared
I have it too. I have it too.
You have it. This guy bought it.
I bought it. Yeah.
Pro wrestling archetypes re-envisioned as
say the name.
Myth, the Thrill Marillion.
Yes, that's a good name. Such a good name.
Thank you. Look at it's like an island sea, and it looks like a championship belt.
Yeah.
There's all these monsters, and there's a lot of little. Oh look, like there's George. Oh, I can't do it. There's George the Animal Steel. Oh look, that kind of looks like Too Bad. Or is it the Legion of Doom? Look, there's Sting over here, and Grimace kind of looks like Kamala. And they all come from parts unknown, and it's all based on fucking wrestling stuff. And there's puzzles in it, and there's some of the pictures are pretty. Oh look! Oh, there's stuff about belts, and there's like epic shit. Anyway, you can find it on Amazon, and you can discover my real name. I'd like to not have it on Amazon someday, but currently that's where it's at because it's easy to do so. And I also have a Choose Your Own Adventure book that I wrote called Fortune Favors the Bold. You can find that there too.
Nice.
That's all. That's all I got to plug.
That's all. That's good plugs. Those are solid plugs. Sweet. Again, yeah.
Thank you.
Send me the links to those so I can put those in the show notes later.
Okay, I will.
Because those, and again, like I bought the Thermarillion a couple months ago.
Appreciate that.
Like I've had that for a while. Like, and it's definitely worth the money. It's like it's the exact, like, if you're a wrestling fan, that is the. If you're a wrestling fan, it's like, oh, I like wrestling, but I also like I'm an adult that needs, to like de-stress myself, and like a coloring book sounds like the way to de-stress myself. Oh, you're in for a treat. You are in for a treat. That's exactly what you want. It's got puzzles, it's got coloring, it's got everything.
I specifically designed it so that the short stories are short, so you can totally take a shit, and it's like you can leave it in the bathroom, and it's like the length of one leaving.
I wasn't going to call it a bathroom reader, but you did, so yeah, it's also that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Put it on the back of your toilet with a pack of markers.
Mm-hmm.
Good
pack
time.
Of markers and a pack of Marlboro Reds.
There you go. There you go. That is.
Sweet. That's how we end it.
That's how it is. That's how it is. That's how it's going to be. That's how it should be. This has been the pregame with Kurt Jangle. My guest tonight has been the Professor Degree. Thank you all for tuning in. And I'll see you next week. Love you. Thank you. Bye-bye.